back. Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. Download the Radio.net app and listen to Onside Radio in every Inter Miami CF game. OnsideRadio.com, your home for Inter Miami soccer.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Duncan to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inter Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yes! Oh, it is. It is! Another episode of Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. I'm Alex Donno. It's Friday. Weekend is almost here, my friends. We did it. How are you celebrating Friday? Are you still celebrating? Maybe you're still hungover from that big Florida Panthers comeback victory last night. We got any highlights, by the way, Mr. Aguirre? Because I've got to relive that, man. I have got to relive that roller coaster of a freaking game. You go up 2-0. You somehow end up down 5-3 after an awful third period. Let's relive some of that magic last night in a must-win postseason, potentially saving victory.
Did you have any fun with games 1 and 2? They were great, and here we go for game number 3.
Here we go.
Tampa Bay trying to take a commanding 3-0 series lead.
Kucherov can play in small spaces and slow things down, and then points going 100 miles an hour away from the puck. It's really tough to defend.
There's no doubt it's opened up more ice for his line mates. Here's Huberdeau. Jonathan Huberdeau, space pass in front, they score! Oh! Tipped in on the backside. Big goal for the Panthers, 0 Florida. Face-off win by Huberdeau, pulls it back to Forsling. Radko Gudas with a shot, gets his own rebound, fires again and scores! Radko Gudas picks the top shelf. And it is 2-0 Panthers.
No way he saw this. A clean face-off win, that starts it. A lot will go out towards him, and then the traffic in front, and it's moving. Gudas gets a second chance. I don't know. Did this get deflected? Maybe off of Braden Point. The initial shot and the retrieval by Gudas. And then Braden Point comes out, but it's the motion, whatever. Bennett's in front. Nope. I think it just beat him cleanly.
Tippett. Gord lost his stick. There's a shot. It's blocked. Goes into the corner. Picked up by Wenberg. Wenberg back to Uyghur. Uyghur. Wenberg shot. Scores. Alex Wenberg has tied the game. Huberdeau settles it down. Sweeps it back for Higgy. Barkov calling for it. Gets it right back up top. Huberdeau into the slot. Ends up with Barkov. Huberdeau puts it in front. It goes off the skates and in. Patrick Hornquist, where he lives, gets the deflection and makes it 5-4. Here's Forsling. His shot scores.
What a big goal that was.
Gustav Forsling has tied this game Do you believe this?
No.
Johnson lost that draw to Noah Achari. Poke free. Here's a chance. It's Lomberg. Lomberg scores. The most unlikely overtime guy you could pick on this roster. Ryan Lomberg wins it for the Panthers.
That's what's so incredible about this Panthers team this year. I mean, a guy like Ryan Lomberg, the Lamborghini, to step up and score that game-winning overtime goal. Ryan Lomberg, it had been almost 6 minutes into the OT before he scored that goal. He hadn't taken a shift yet in the overtime. He was the only Panthers skater, and kudos to Jameson Olive for these stats, by the way, lead writer at FloridaPanthers.com, our good friend. Ryan Lomberg was the only Panther skater before he scored that clutch-ass game-winning goal. He was the only Panther skater who hadn't registered a shot on goal until that point. So, yeah, you talk about unlikely overtime winners. Lomberg, who, God, he was so fast, like Luis Mendoza in the Mighty Ducks 2. I mean, he was streaking down the ice and had the perfect finish to get the puck behind Vasilevsky. You also had, when the Butcher, Radko Gudas, scored earlier in the game, that was his first playoff goal. So you keep seeing stuff like this. You keep seeing unlikely Panthers step up. And obviously, I'm not strictly talking about these 3 games in the playoffs. I'm talking about regular season games as well. You keep seeing unlikely players step up, guys you don't expect to score, scoring clutch goals and big goals. And, guys, I'm still not wavering from the prediction that I made yesterday, and that's Tampa Bay Lightning in 6. But if the Florida Panthers can win again tomorrow, and it's a matinee game tomorrow, Game 4 is going to be right on your ass before you even know it. 12:30 p.m. tomorrow, Game 4 between the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa. And if the Panthers can get another one and steal home ice advantage back, get another one in Tampa Bay tomorrow afternoon, then yeah, you bet your ass I'm going to start believing the Florida Panthers can actually come back from 0-2 and win this series. That was fantastic yesterday. And, people are loading into the YouTube chat already, and we appreciate everyone. So make sure you know that if you're listening to us right now on OnSideRadio.com or the Radio FM app or the MyTuner radio app, one of the many ways you can listen to audio only, just want to give you guys a shout that if you're able to, if you're stationary, if you're in the car, it probably doesn't make any sense to pull us up on YouTube, and I wouldn't even recommend it, because if you're distracted by my very manly, beautiful face, you might, end up in a car wreck or something, and we don't want that to happen. It's dangerous enough out there on those South Florida streets. But if you're stationary somewhere, if you're at your home, your office, your home office, and you're able to pull us up on your computer or on your smart device, your tablet, your phone, and you want to watch live video of what we got going on here in studio, and you want to chat with us live on the live YouTube chat, which is really easy to use. As soon as you search for Onside Radio on YouTube, you subscribe to our channel, you hit the watch live button, and not only can you watch us and listen to us live, but you can also partake in the live chat. And I'm very active on the live chat. I chat with you guys. I type stuff during the breaks. I read some of the messages on the air. We're very interactive every single day. Multiple topics from the live chat turn in was the original right word there. Turn into topics on the show. Indade writes in, goddamn right, Panthers. Now fix your damn defense. Can't keep sending 3 guys low, 1 mid, and 1 defenseman back. Lightning will eat that up every time. Yeah, I mean, listen, already in 2 of these games, you've given up 5 goals. Just yesterday, thankfully, you scored more than you gave up. Now, be honest. Anyone who watched that game, whether you're a hardcore hockey fan, hardcore Panthers fan, or you're just a South Floridian captivated by playoff hockey and you're jumping aboard the bandwagon, or at least trying to, when the Florida Panthers had that dreadful, catastrophic, no good, very bad second period where they got outscored 5-1 in the second period, all of Tampa Bay's goals were scored in one catastrophic Florida Panthers period. You had a 2-0 lead in the first intermission. In the second period, Anthony Cirelli scores, Ross Colton scores, Steven Stamkos scores, Braden Point, Alex Killorn. 3 power play goals by Tampa in that period. Actually, no, sorry, 2 power play goals by Tampa in that period. And 1 power play goal by the Panthers in that period, the Wenberg goal. But the Panthers continue, to struggle on the penalty kill. Game 1 was catastrophic on the PK. Game 3 was not great on the penalty kill either. But after that catastrophic second period, and the Panthers saw a 2-0 lead turn into a 5-3 deficit heading into the third, how many of you, and be honest, it's okay to talk about it now because the game is over, how many of you threw in the towel? right? Because the second period was one of the worst periods the Florida Panthers have played all season long. All season long. I'm not going to say it was the worst period in franchise history because I'm sure, with the last 2 decades of mediocrity, they've probably done worse. But I thought that was the worst 20 minutes of hockey the Florida Panthers have played all season was that second period last night. How many of you threw in the towel and gave up hope completely after that second period? 2 things happened heading into the third, and I'm not sure which of these things was more important than the other. I got the scoop this morning when I was listening to Toasted Sports. Anytime I'm in the car or hanging out at home and it's between the hours of 8 to 10 a.m., I turn on the radio FM app or I turn on YouTube and I watch and I listen to our guy Toast on in the morning. And Toast said something. I was not even aware that this was something he's been doing throughout the year. God bless him. So Toast has his own lucky Florida Panthers hat. I'm very superstitious. I don't question this stuff. I don't understand it. I can't explain it, but I don't question it. You guys all know that I am a big proponent of superstitious, lucky paraphernalia, okay? Back when the Heat were winning championships, I used to do a thing called the Donno TV switcheroo, and it got the Heat 2 titles, okay? That anytime the Heat were in a playoff game, I would always watch the first half of the game in the living room, and then I would switch TVs to the bedroom TV exactly midway through halftime. And every time I did that, the Heat would always successfully turn in a victory. It used to be a big thing during the Big Three era, was the Donno TV switcheroo. I've got superstitions for a lot of different teams. Those who are watching on YouTube, you can see it right now. I'll put it over my face here. I have my lucky Inter Milan mask that Big O actually gifted to me near the start of the European soccer season. And so I've been wearing this mask even if I'm like at home by myself watching a game. I will still actually wear the lucky mask during a game. So I'm obviously not an anti-masker. I'm a pro-masker because there are times, just for good luck for my sports teams, I'll be in a room by myself watching a game and I will wear the mask to bring my team luck. And my beloved Internazionale Milano actually won the Italian title this year, and it was all due to the power of the lucky mask. Our guy Toast has a lucky Florida Panthers hat, and I heard him tell the story this morning. So he's at home watching that Panthers game with his wife last night, and he was trying to put on his lucky Panthers hat right when the game was starting, and he couldn't find it. Like it had fallen somewhere into the dark depths of his closet, and he just couldn't find his hat. So he goes the first period, no hat. Disastrous second period where the Panthers ended up skating into the locker room, the dressing room they call it in hockey after the second period with a 5-3 deficit. And then his wife during the second intermission actually finds his lucky Panthers hat somewhere in the back of their closet. He puts on the hat for the third period, and voila, the Panthers end up coming back from the dead, tie it up at 5. God bless you, Forsling. And then they win the game. Lamborghini, thank you so much for the game-winning goal. And it was all because of Toast's lucky Panthers hat. That's factor number 1. Factor number 2, and again, I don't know who we give more credit to in this situation, because another thing happened besides Toast putting on his lucky hat. We had ourselves a goalie change. We made the switch from Chris Drieger, who started the game and was kind of a disaster in that second period. Well, the whole defense, everything was a disaster. I can't even really pin it all on Drieger. But we make the switch to Sergei Bobrovsky, and voila. Bob finally gives us something spectacular in the postseason. We've been looking for that. And I don't care if it came from Bob. I don't care if it came from Drieger. I don't care if it came from Spencer Knight. I don't care if John Van Beesbrook, who works as an analyst for the team, decides I would like to put the pads on again and make a comeback. I don't care who does it. I wanted something spectacular between the pipes for the Florida Panthers, and we finally got some of that from Sergei Bobrovsky last night. So, based on the patterns that Coach Quenneville have used, and actually this has already been confirmed because I was looking at tweets from some of the Panthers beat writers over the past hour or so. Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be your starter in Game 4. And you've got to hope that whatever magic he had for 25 minutes of ice time last night and the magic that he had 2 years ago when he was a Columbus Blue Jacket and he was part of a team that was an 8 seed and swept these Tampa Bay Lightning, who were the 1 seed that year. You hope that Bobrovsky can rediscover some of that and can carry some of that momentum over that he had last night because, yeah, he was a big catalyst in that victory, was Bob in net helping the Panthers shut out the Lightning the rest of the way when he was in goal. He made 9 saves on 9 shots last night. Listen, Donno, Sergei Bobrovsky, it's Bob. A lot of these hockey fans, they talk a lot of shit about Bob. What I did last night, greatest Russian accomplishment since we launched Sputnik. Great, I call it, this is not like Soviet Union anymore, where I wait in line for 14 hours for cigarette and vodka. No, this was wonderful performance. Thank you, Mr. Bobrovsky. That was spectacular last night. Let's do it again tomorrow. Let's do it again tomorrow afternoon. I hope momentum is real. I hope that exists, and I hope that's an actual thing that we don't just make up and sensationalize, because these Florida Panthers, I'm telling you, man, if we can get a good performance from Bob in net, if we can be more consistent defensively, stop letting in stupid goals and odd man rushes, and we can actually even up this series at 2 and then get this team back home with a little momentum and home ice advantage back, I'm going to start believing this team can actually do something special. Like, I could become an actual believer last night, and it was the full roller coaster, the full experience. I got all the feels watching this Panthers team last night. And, man, listen, still, it's a long shot because being in that 0-2 hole against a team as good as the Tampa Bay Lightning, I said it before and I'll say it again, I know that you take it one game at a time, right? But before last night's victory, you knew that for the Panthers to come back and win this series, they would have to win 4 out of 5. 4 out of the next 5 against this defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning team, which still will not be easy. Now, what was 4 out of 5 is now 3 out of 4. So winning yesterday took some of that pressure off, man. But, God, we got our guy Ray Grullon in the chat. He says, howdy, Donno, and everyone, go Panthers. I love it. Yeah, Indade admits. He says, I thought the game was over. I'm happy that them winning doesn't depend on me watching, he said. Now, Indade, if you're telling me you shut the game off after the second period and they came back, that might be the secret, sir. I may not allow you to watch the next game. I may have to send out an order to say, hey, please, whatever you do, watch, rewatch old Sopranos episodes or something. Find anything else to watch on TV tomorrow other than Game 4 between the Panthers and Lightning. Because if they played their best hockey after you turn the TV set off, then that might be what we have to go with, man. Tommy said, I was sure that the Panthers were toast. It started reminding me of the Stanley Cup series until they pulled it off. Can we put in the kid Spencer Knight, says Tommy in Hialeah. Honestly, I don't think Spencer Knight is ready for this. I don't think he's ready for this stage. I mean, 20-year-old kid. That's really, really young for a goalie. He's going to be developed. I think he's going to end up probably being the future of this Panthers organization within the next couple of years. But it's so risky. Like, if you were to throw Spencer Knight out there in a playoff game, then, maybe there's a chance he ends up having, this adrenaline-fueled, dominant performance. Because sometimes when you throw a guy in for the first time, what was that story from a while back about was it the Toronto Maple Leafs who used an emergency goalie that was just some dude and he had this incredible performance? Sometimes when you get your first shot on a big stage, you just have this amazing momentum, this amazing adrenaline. But in the case of Spencer Knight, it's so risky because if you throw him out there in a playoff game against an incredible team like the Lightning, if that moment and that stage is too big for him and he lets up 7 goals, then you're screwed. And then Coach Quenneville is going to look really, really bad for doing that. Tommy says he could be an upgrade. Put the kid in. Listen, Tommy, all I could say, bro, I'm really glad that you're not the coach of the team, okay? No offense. Now, if they want to give more ice time to Spencer Knight next year, which is going to happen because Chris Drieger is going to leave 99%. He's going to leave in free agency. So, it's going to be Bob and Spencer Knight next year, which means Knight is going to get a lot of looks, but that's too much of a roll of the dice for me to throw the kid out there in a big playoff series against a tough team like this when you're down. Maybe if the Panthers were up 3-0 and they were just toying with the Lightning, then you might think about something like that. But I don't think there's any reason to do that in this situation. If you want to get in via the station text line, 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. We have a lot going on in this episode of Man of the Match. later on this hour at 3:45, we're going to get our best bets for the weekend from our guy Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. He's going to join us to make some picks. I'll certainly ask him his take on the Heat opening up the series tomorrow with Milwaukee, and I'll get his take also on the Panthers game 4 with the Lightning tomorrow, and we'll also get whatever his picks are preferred. We have a UFC event coming up tomorrow as well. I'm sure he's going to have a couple of fights from that. In the 4 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock sharp, we're going to talk some Inter Miami with our good friend Franco Panizo from SBI Soccer. Inter Miami have a game tomorrow as well. 6 o'clock kickoff time, which means 5 o'clock pregame for us here on Onside Radio. We are the flagship station for Inter Miami CF. I'm going to be out at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company tomorrow. So come by and say hi to us, Dangerous Minds in Pompano. The craft beer there is delicious. The food is really, really good. They have artisan pizzas and some other favorites. Like I had the Turkish lamb wrap there a couple of weeks ago, and it was really awesome. Yeah, I have an adventurous palate, so I like to try interesting things, and that really, really hit it out of the park. So join us there tomorrow. Pre-game at 5. Game kicks off at 6 o'clock at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company. So Franco Panizo is going to join us at 4. 4:35, we're going to talk with Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. We'll get the usual Friday honesty from Omar. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to circle back to the Cats and talk to former Florida Panther, a guy who was part of the incredible 1996 team that made that run at the Stanley Cup Finals. The blonde bomber, Bill Lindsay, is going to join us at 5 o'clock. So we're going to have a big show coming up. We also have Foodie Friday, which we're going to do later this hour. I'm going to explain the Foodie Friday concept for this week when we come back. Plus, Giannis Antetokounmpo might be the softest professional athlete in the NBA right now. I don't know if he's Victor Oladipo soft, but we've got a quote from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let me just say, I was worried about this series yesterday. Today, I'm thinking Heat sweep. Man of the Match continues. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnSideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader. When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. At OnSideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
And we've got ourselves a series. Game 3 between Florida and Tampa was quite the emotional roller coaster, and it was the Panthers coming out on top with a thrilling 6-5 overtime win. The Cats jumped out to an early 2-0 lead on goals by Sam Bennett and Radko Gudas, but the second period was almost all Tampa. The Bolts put up 5 goals in the middle frame, taking a 5-3 lead into the third period. Tampa had been a perfect 28-0 when leading after 2, but the Panthers had something to say about that. Patrick Hornquist picked up a power play goal early in the third, and Gustav Forsling's wrist shot beat Andrei Vasilevsky 5-hole and tied the game with just 3:07 to go. Florida's overtime hero was an unlikely one, as Ryan Lombard scored on a breakaway less than 6 minutes into the extra frame to send the Panthers over the boards and into celebration mode. The Cats now look ahead to Game 4 on Saturday, hoping to pick up another big win away from home and tie this series up at 2.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Dude, something about the last 48 hours, I'm starting to feel more and more confident about the Miami Heat heading into this series with the Milwaukee Bucks, which starts tomorrow. As our friend Marla pointed out on the text line, tomorrow is going to be absolutely ridiculous for South Florida sports fans. You got the Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Game 4 tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Then there's going to be a little bit of an overlap because the Heat-Bucks game, probably actually not that much overlap because the NBA is really sketchy with, like, start times for games. Like, 2 o'clock start time, supposedly, between the Heat and Bucks for Game 1. But the way the NBA rolls, they say 2 o'clock. It's going to be, like, probably 2:18 p.m. tomorrow. So, yeah, the Panthers game will probably start at 12:38 because usually the NHL games, they start 8 minutes after, like, the scheduled face-off, so probably 12:38 for the Panthers game, something like probably 2:15, 2:18 for Heat Bucks. And then you've got Inter Miami at the Chicago Fire at 6 o'clock, which will be 6:08 p.m., I think is the kickoff time. Our pregame coverage, though, is going to start promptly at 5 p.m. tomorrow, so make sure you tune into that here on Onside Radio. So you got the Panthers early afternoon, the Heat mid-afternoon, Inter Miami in the evening. We also have a UFC fight night card. The fight fans like me will appreciate that at night tomorrow. You've got Font versus Garbrandt. So it's wall-to-wall, baby. It is wall-to-wall sports. You got hockey, you got your basketball, you got your football, and you've got your fights tomorrow night. So that is going to be absolutely fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, over the past 48 hours, I'm starting to feel a lot better going into Heat Bucks. Ira Winderman talked a lot of confidence into me yesterday when he said he's picking the Heat in 6. And a big difference for Ira is you've got Coach Spo versus Coach Booty. You got Eric Spoelstra against Budenholzer. And who do I trust to make adjustments better? Of course, I would trust Coach Spo. And then the other thing is, guys, you look at the attitudes of the players heading into this, okay? You compare and contrast these attitudes. Jimmy Butler, on the one hand, says, I think I'm stupidly locked in. I can tell you that. So he's stupidly locked in for this series. The amount of film that I watch, the amount of time that I spend on the court working on my game, trying to figure out where everybody's going to be at on the floor. It's a different type of year for everybody. I'm not the only one that's like this. Everybody is. But I think they expect me to be dialed in, locked in, be a completely different individual player on both sides of the ball in every aspect of the game. And I like it, Jimmy said. Ooh, I love to hear that. He says it's kind of like you don't hold anything back and you leave everything out there. That's what I'm here for. And, yeah, Jimmy has proven his value in the postseason. I know that dude is going to be dominant, okay? Jimmy Butler, you would expect, is going to be Miami's leading scorer in this series. Then on the other side of it, up in old Milwaukee, you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. They call this guy the Greek freak. He's softer than Greek yogurt. Listen to this quote. We have this audio bite from Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, you want to talk about instilling no confidence whatsoever. So the Greek yogurt was asked heading into this series because, of course, the Heat famously bounced Milwaukee in 5 games last year in the second round of the playoffs. And so, Giannis, he should be motivated. He should be out for blood. He should be out for revenge. So here is Giannis Antetokounmpo asked how things between the Bucks and the Heat are going to be different this year from last year.
I don't know if this year is going to be different, team. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't say that. It might be the same. Who knows? We'll see. The results going to talk for themselves at the end. But at the end of the day, is that don't get too high, don't get too low. I feel like last year, probably because of the bubble, wasn't able to get away from basketball, like losing the game and just going to the hotel and seeing the players that just beat you. You like got too low.
I don't know if it's going to be different. I'm not going to lie to you. It might be the same. Who knows? I mean, bro. Are you serious? Like, this guy has the personality of stale bread. Like, you got to give the people something. I mean, Jimmy Butler talks about being stupidly locked in. I know Bam Adebayo he's going to be out there like a Terminator. And, of course, the guy who I think is going to be the silent assassin, assuming he's, as healthy as he's been all season or healthier than he's been all season, is Goran Dragic, my Slovenian king, who was so good against the Bucks last year. And then you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're looking at this guy. I guess he's just chilling there in beer and cheese country with his max contract. He doesn't have a care in the world. Giannis, is it going to be different this year? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's going to be any different this year. It might be the same. I'm not really sure about that. Wow. I can smell his fear. I can smell his fear. He knows that his coach is literally booty, Mike Budenholzer. And listen, and that Milwaukee Bucks team, they got better. No question about it, they got better. Their bench is better. They got an all-star to add into the mix in Drew Holiday. So, yeah, I think that the Bucks on paper are a more formidable foe than they were even a season ago. But it really, really would not surprise me if the Heat shock a lot of people and come out on top in this series. I'm really not afraid of the Bucks, and I honestly thought Giannis Antetokounmpo would radiate a little bit more confidence than he did in that quote. And so there you go. I can smell his fear like a jar of tzatziki sauce. I don't think the Greek freak is up for the challenge this coming weekend, man. 844-416-8123 is how you get in. That's 844-416-8123. Rafa in Miami says, Greek yogurt. I'm not a fan of Greek yogurt. And that actually reminds me, coming up next, we got our Foodie Friday segment. We're going to go over the most overrated foods. This was actually inspired. I was having a random-ass text conversation with our buddy Tito Benach, who is doing big things now over at CBS Sports. He no longer works with us here at Onside Radio. And, he sent me this, random text where he was complaining to me about how overrated he thinks sorbet is. Apparently his dad loves sorbet or something. We can't understand why anyone would eat sorbet when ice cream exists. And so it got me thinking. I'm going to make a list of the most overrated foods, and I want you guys to chime in on this. So you can get in on the YouTube chat, foods that you think are overrated. I'd probably put Greek yogurt in that category. Give me some regular yogurt. Give me some Yoplait, some Dannon. I'm good. Greek yogurt is it's too close to cottage cheese. It's somewhere, it's a cross between yogurt and cottage cheese. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Give me some regular yogurt. So be getting at us on the text line at 844-416-8123 and on the phone lines. And on the YouTube chat as well. Just find us on YouTube, search Onside Radio, subscribe to our channel. We're going to go over the most overrated foods when we come back. This is your home for Inter Miami CF fans all over the world. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The 25-year-old was reportedly arrested this past week near Vail, where a sheriff's deputy said he saw Camargo's car speeding and changing lanes erratically, which is always really smart. When you're carrying a lot of drugs, you want to speed, you want to swerve, you want to look like you're drunk and high and all that. You want to cause as much attention. You want to bring as much attention to you when you're carrying a load of drugs. That's just a tip for you, thieves out there, you drug dealers, you criminals. Bring all the attention possible to you while you're committing a crime. It's really, really smart.
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
The Cardiac Cats are back at it, getting a much-needed win in overtime over the Tampa Bay Lightning 6-5. Ryan Lomberg scored on a breakaway with 5:56 into the overtime period. The Lightning lit the lamp 5 times in period 2, causing Coach Q to pull Chris Drieger and insert Sergei Bobrovsky, who stopped all 9 shots he faced in the third period and overtime. The teams are back at it tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Tampa Bay leads the series 2-1. Miami Marlins beat the Philadelphia Phillies 6-0 to take the 3-game series over the Phillies. Sandy Alcantara went 6 innings, allowing 2 hits. Home runs from Garrett Cooper and Miguel Rojas were more than enough for the win. The Marlins are back home for a weekend series against the Mets. Jordan Holloway gets the start. Miami Heat get their NBA playoff first-round matchup with the Milwaukee Bucks start at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. The Washington Wizards took the 8th seed from the Pacers 142-115. They'll take on the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Tonight, the Grizzlies and the Warriors battle to see who will face the Utah Jazz in the first round. Inter Miami CF is in action this Saturday at 6. Pre-game is live from Dangerous Minds Brewing at 5 with Alex Donno on the Big O, and Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rognan, and Fernando Fiori on the call of the game. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station, OnSideRadio.com.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yo, in less than 10 minutes, we're going to get our best bets for the weekend from Lee Sterling. Hopefully he gives us something for tonight in addition to tomorrow, because I'm jonesing for a little action. I usually try and find some games to bet on in the afternoon, but on Lee Sterling Day, I usually wait until I get some guidance from my Jedi Master before we lock anything in. So we have that coming up. Want to go through for Foodie Friday. You know, we always love to bring up a unique food conversation every Friday, hashtag Foodie Friday here on Onside Radio. And inspired by Tito, who was texting me this morning about how upset he is by sorbet. Like, he's upset that sorbet exists. You know, to be quite honest, I don't mind a nice lemon sorbet. Very few scenarios where I'm choosing sorbet over ice cream, But if someone offers me lemon sorbet, it can be delightful. Maybe it is a little overrated, though. I don't know. But I agree with Ray in the YouTube chat who says, yes, Greek yogurt is overrated. I see all the chefs always raving about it. I went to Publix, got one, tasted it, and I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. It was bland, he said. Yeah, I mean, Greek. There's nothing exciting about Greek yogurt. You know why? You know why people talk up Greek yogurt? And that's a big theme of this overrated foods list. People get excited about something when they think it's healthy. Okay? Like, people get excited about what they think is a healthier alternative to something that they normally eat. Like, oh my God, Greek yogurt, that's healthier than regular yogurt. So we're going to hype it up and overrate it and, give it all this talk. And it is what it is. And that's a similar theme for a lot of these. Here are some of my most overrated foods, okay? Brown rice. I mean, in what universe do people really think that brown rice is better than white rice? It's not. Like, brown rice is barely a step above quinoa. It's a little bit too tough. It's grainy. I don't think it's easy to digest. But people hype up brown rice because, again, there's this smear campaign against white rice. It's not good for you. It's unhealthy. Oh, brown rice is so much better. So people hype it up. Same thing with dark chocolate. I'm sorry. Maybe there are a few sickos out there who think that dark chocolate is better than milk chocolate. Get your taste buds checked. It's not. It's not. But dark chocolate has an excellent PR rep, right? Because they convince you, oh, my God, it's so much healthier. I got news for you guys. If you're trying to be healthy, you probably shouldn't be eating any chocolate. Okay, you think you're eating some superfood, okay? Sweet potato fries, same deal. I mean, I'll admit, there are certain times where I'll say, I'm looking for something a little bit different. They've got sweet potato fries. Let me try them. I'm disappointed every time. Sweet potato fries are not better than regular fries. They get overrated. This one, I don't need to explain it to you guys a whole lot because you know that I have a crusade against this. Pineapple pizza. I love pineapples. I love pizza, but they're not meant to be together. It's an unholy marriage. Popcorn. Popcorn, I think, is overrated. Popcorn, again, the reason why every American thinks popcorn is like a staple, delicious food is, back in the olden days, people used to go to movie theaters in the 50s and 60s, and they would eat potato chips in the movie theaters. That used to be the movie theater snack. But then movie studios realized when people are in the theater munching on potato chips, the loud crunch distracts other people from the movie. So the movie studios decided, what snack do we want the movie theaters to push on people that can be eaten quietly? Popcorn. So if you eat popcorn, you're not fighting the man. If you're eating popcorn, you are allowing the movie studio Illuminati to permeate your brain, and you're a puppet. You're a sheep if you eat popcorn. Another food I think is a little overrated. Not saying I don't like it. Peanuts. Peanuts are overrated. I'll tell you why. It's far from my favorite nut. Give me some pistachios. Give me some cashews. Give me some almonds. I would take any of those over peanuts. Again, peanuts are not bad. There's nothing wrong with peanuts, but they're overrated. They got a great PR department. Pickles. I just don't like them. I don't know why they're everywhere. I got to pick them off sandwiches all the time. It's really annoying. Soup. Soup, I think, is overrated. Like, what is it? Is it an appetizer? Is it a meal? It's mostly water. Like, what are we doing here with this soup? You know what else I think is overrated? And I don't mean to blaspheme this, but it's far from my favorite thing on the McDonald's menu. I think the Big Mac is a little overrated. Like, have you actually eaten a Big Mac lately? Like, the double quarter pounder, even the single quarter pounder, way better. They got that extra slice of bread in the middle. Like, what's it doing there? Why is there an extra slice of bread taking up space? Is it just meant to make the whole sandwich look better? I don't really understand the purpose of it. So that's a big one for me. Oh, man. Rafa is throwing fastballs in the YouTube chat. He says, you ready for this? He says the chicken tender sub from Publix is overrated. Give me the Italian or the ultimate, so much better. The chicken tender sub, I can say it is my favorite sub at Publix. It's very filling. It comes at a price because you're going to be sluggish for the rest of the day if you eat one of those things. But I think it's a worthy trade-off. I really think it's good. Now, inevitably, there are going to be people who think the chicken tender sub is overrated because it gets so much hype, right? So it's like In-N-Out Burger. Like, you get so much hype that it's really hard, no matter how good it is, to actually live up to it, and there are going to be people who think it's overrated. So I respect your opinion. It's America. You're allowed to have an opinion, but I wholeheartedly disagree, and you're wrong. You're wrong. All right, we're going to talk with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com when we come back. Brooklyn Rob says, what's with the French accent? Yeah, I was trying to do Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know he's Greek, not French, but I got to work on it. And I should be better at it because my brother-in-law is from Greece, so I hear a Greek accent often, and I've not mastered it. I apologize if I offended you or I offended any of your French or Greek relatives by that attempt at an accent. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to get our picks from Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com when we come back. Hey, start your morning every day, 8 a.m. with Toasted Sports. Toast covers all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Toasted Sports, 8 to 10 a.m. only at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Hey, it's Toast. Last year when I had PGT custom windows and doors installed in my house by B&T Windows and Doors, I knew about the hurricane protection. What I didn't know? The silence. Oh my goodness, my house is so quiet now. One of those cars goes tearing down the street with the crazy loud muffler. Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. It's unbelievable. I didn't realize how noisy my house was beforehand. You've got to get PGT custom windows and doors installed in your pad today. Call B&T Windows and Doors, 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnSideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, one of my favorite parts of every Friday show is bringing on our good pal Lee Sterling, sports handicapper, ParamountSports.com. He doesn't pay us to come on. We don't pay him to come on. We appreciate his picks. And if you've been listening to Lee with us for the last several months, you've won money. It's a roller coaster at times, but we have come out in the plus, my friends, which is better than I could say right now for my crypto portfolio, my betting portfolio, doing a little bit better at this moment. Lee Sterling, good afternoon, sir. How you been?
I'm good. Yeah, and you're about the 15th person I've heard that has invested pretty heavily in crypto.
And I'm not panicking, man. I mean, listen, you have to have dips before you can reach new highs. Right. So I'm digging in by heels, man, and I'm waiting for better times, Lee. Now, before we get into to your preferred selections for the weekend, maybe this is one of them, maybe it's not, but I'm really looking forward to, among other things, tomorrow, Heat Bucks Game 1. And I'm actually I'm drinking the Heat Kool-Aid a little bit. I don't know specifically about Game 1, but for the series I am. Do you have any feeling on how the first game in Milwaukee is going to go tomorrow?
Well, I'd like to get more points, but I still think Heat's probably the right side, only because I think that the Bucks really just don't know what to expect. I think the Heat's going to, they're going to come up with some different defenses and might throw in a few out-of-bounds plays. Eric Spoelstra certainly totally outcoached Budenholzer last year in the playoffs. And,
I call him Coach Booty for a reason.
Coach Booty, yeah. So it was an exciting run last year. I don't have anything on the series because Milwaukee's like minus 340, 350. Yeah. I do think Milwaukee will probably win the series, but it should be probably in the 250 to 260 range. But I think the Heat's probably the right side at plus 4.5 in the first game. I think that they can keep this game close. It might be a 1 or 2 possession game.
I like it. So what are your preferred picks heading into the weekend, Lee? We got plenty of basketball, hockey, baseball, UFC tomorrow night. Your choice, my friend. Dealer's choice.
Okay, so I'm going to be upfront and honest. My biggest selection of the weekend was canceled.
Oh.
It was going to be David, The Undertaker, Dvorak versus Roland Palva. Palva did not. He ended up begging out because the weight cut. I thought I had maybe one of the biggest selections of the last year, but not to be. So that's a little frustrating. But I still like Rob Font. This is the main event against Colby Garbrandt. Colby Garbrandt, more of a name, and I think the public's going to bet him.
Yeah.
If you like Font like I do, it's like minus 110 now. I think he might get this at plus 100, or he might even be the underdog by the time that the fight takes place. So I would hold off here. Garbrandt is a knockout puncher, but on the other side, I think he has a suspect chin. And I think Font might be able to take him down by knocking him out, maybe by jiu-jitsu or even submission. And it's part of the New England cartel. Guys are originally from the Boston area, like Calvin Kattar, and he's never been knocked out. And that's really probably the only path to victory, in my opinion, for Garbrandt, unless he just absolutely dominates the fight, and I don't see it that way. So I think Font's getting better, believe it or not, at 33, destroyed Marlon Moraes, and I'll take him here. Right now it's minus 110. He could end up being the underdog by the time the fight takes place.
Yeah, like that. I was leaning to Font, so you may have put me over the fence on that one in a good way, because with Garbrandt, you're right. He's definitely overvalued a bit because he's one of those fighters that, he's been around for a really long time. He's got a lot of friends in fighting, and he's a former champ. Because I've noticed when I read a lot of like the pre-fight news pieces where they'll ask various coaches, like, who do you think's going to win this fight? And a lot of them are saying Garbrandt, but I feel like that's kind of fool's gold, Lee. We've talked about this before, where a lot of times, fighters who have a lot of connections in the business and have been around for a long time, because so many of these trainers and fighters, it's very incestuous. So many of these guys train together, have trained together before, and so a lot of times you'll get a fighter who's a little bit overinflated for that reason.
Yeah, and really suspect chin. So he can dish it out, but you hit him on right on the kisser or on the temple, I think he'll go down and be out. So big name though. I mean, much more of a name than Font, but that's the public. The public falls in love with certain guys, and they're still backing Conor McGregor. So let him keep fighting, and I'll keep fading him.
I'm with you on that one as well. Anything else you like for this weekend?
I like a game tonight.
Love it.
In the hockey, I like the Nashville Predators, and very similar situation, in my opinion, to what the Panthers are facing. You know, they're 0-2. They are playing this game here at home. They were actually in the first game. They were only down by 1 goal until right at the end, an open net, but empty net. But they were 0-7 on the power play. They get to play this at home. Bridgestone Arena, Nashville. People don't realize this. One of the biggest advantages in hockey is they made it to the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago because of that advantage. They'll be playing to the highest capacity in any arena at 13,000, and they took the Hurricanes the last game of the regular season there, and I think they're going to find a way with their backs against the wall to do it here. They got to be better than 0-7 on the power play. Wrong team favored. I'll take the Predators here plus 125 money line.
I like it. Anything else, Lee?
Yeah, a high-scoring game in baseball tonight. I like the Chicago White Sox, New York Yankees over 8 here. The White Sox have absolutely feasted on left-handed pitching. Jordan Montgomery goes for the Yankees. He's faced some really bad lineups this year. Baltimore 3 times, Tampa 3 times, Cleveland once. Maybe the only decent lineup is the Houston Astros. And Rodon, the pitcher, he has to face the Yankees lineup here that they seem to have found their groove. They've scored 4 more runs in 4 of the last 5 home games. They're starting to hit lefties also. I think we're going to see a 7-3, 7-4 game. So 8, I think, is pretty low here. Bombs away. I think we'll see a lot of homers, a lot of doubles and triples, and let's go over 8 in the White Sox and New York Yankees game.
Fantastic. Now, before we let you run, I know this is not one of your preferred selections, but I asked you about the Heat Game 1 earlier. What do you think about Panthers Lightning Game 4? I mean, Panthers had, that my heart was going crazy watching that game last night. The Panthers were able to salvage the series for the time being. Big Game 4 for both sides tomorrow. How do you see that one playing out?
Incredible game. If that game was played at like 9, 10 o'clock, most people wouldn't have gotten to sleep until 3 o'clock. You watch all the interviews afterwards.
I had the adrenaline going.
Put it into context. Yeah, put it into context. Tampa Bay had won 26 straight when they led after 2 periods. So it was that remarkable of a comeback. So give them credit. I think the over is the right side here. Drieger hasn't settled in. He's the better goalie of the two. Bobrovsky will probably get the start, in my opinion. But Tampa Bay really hasn't shown their best except for a couple periods where they got going in Game 1. And I just think that also Florida's offense is I think Barkov might have a big game. This might be his big game. So I like the over 6 in this game best.
I think that's a really good shout because we've already hit the over a couple times in that series. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. And Lee, I know you've always got deals and bargains at Paramount Sports, which really is an incredible service. Let people know how they can take advantage.
Just go to ParamountSports.com. We do hockey. We're number 1 probably in the country in hockey. And baseball's starting to round into form. Also got NBA playoffs. Those start tomorrow. They get either sport, either the hockey or the basketball, 2 months of action through the finals in both sports, just $197. Baseball's $597 for the rest of the season. Football's coming up around the corner, and 5 selections in hockey for just $25 this weekend. It's all available right now, ParamountSports.com.
So good. Lee, thank you so much, man, and enjoy your weekend coming up.
You too. Take care.
Great stuff. ParamountSports.com is the website. Awesome job, as always, by Lee Sterling. We got Inter Miami tomorrow night as well, 6 o'clock, and we're going to be joined by Franco Panizo from SBI Soccer, Inter Miami beat reporter, and he also hosts the really awesome podcast, Miami Total Football Radio, with Steve Brenner. Franco Panizo is going to join us when we come back here on OnsideRadio.com. Hey, over the last 30 years, South Florida fans have always been able to count on one radio show that gives you the brutal honesty you need. That's Orlando Alzagari in the Onside Zone, daily from noon to 3 p.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. Chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inter Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome back in to Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. Huge thanks again to Lee Sterling for joining us. Later this hour, we're going to talk with Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. At 5 o'clock, we'll talk some Panthers with Bill Lindsay, the blonde bomber. But right now, we're going to talk some Inter Miami with our good pal Franco Panizo from SBI Soccer and Miami Total Football Radio. Franco, how's it going, man? How's your week going?
Good, man. It's good. No 3 games in 8 days this week, so it's been a bit more irregular in that sense. Last week was also my birthday, so that made it a little more chaotic. But the week's been good.
Happy belated, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, so it's been good. It's been good to get back to more of a normal week. So all looking forward to tomorrow's game against the Chicago Fire.
Now, it sounds to me like there's been a lot of progress on the injury front for Robbie, Figal, and Leerdam. Do you think we might see all 3 or any of those 3 tomorrow?
I think you could see them off the bench. I think they're going to be cautious with them. I think realized with Robbie Robinson's injury against Nashville when he re-aggravated the hamstring that they don't want to push them before they need to. So I think the plan is to take them, to have them travel, but maybe they hold off unless they absolutely need to. And obviously if they check off every box that they need to medically, I think maybe we could see one or two of them, but only if the situation or the game calls for it. If the game isn't calling for, if the game's a blowout and doesn't necessarily call for Robbie Robinson to come in, then I don't think we'll see Robbie Robinson. But if the match is calling for a right back to come in, maybe we'll see one of Kelvin Deardam or Nicolas Figal step in. I think they'll be smart about how they handle it tomorrow.
Now, in my opinion, I think the answer to this is Figal, but who do you think out of those three Inter Miami have missed most in these last couple games?
That's a good question. I personally rate Figal more, but I think Robbie Robinson has probably been missed more for what they want to do in their setup and their tactics. They like to have their wide players obviously threaten with speed and behind through the wings. So obviously Lewis Morgan has been doing that a good bit. Brek Shea showed some good things, but in this last game at the left midfield spot, but even then he had the fewest touches of any Inter Miami starter on the field. So I think they would like a little bit more verticality and a little bit more speed and direct play from the left wing spot right now, and they haven't really gotten it. So I think Robbie Robinson has probably been missed the most in that regard. But again, I'm with you that Figal is a player that they have missed, and someone that Phil Neville yesterday talked very highly about. Yet again, it's not the first time he's raved about Figal. He called him an out and out winner. So that mentality that he brings and that presence that he brings to the back line is key and something that they've missed for sure.
We're joined here by Franco Panizo on Onside Radio. One of the topics of the season so far has been Rodolfo Pizarro. Now, where do you think he stands right now with Phil Neville? Because you pointed this out, and I noticed this watching the game last week as well. He was on the bench, came off the bench though, and when he had that shot that forced a save late, Phil Neville didn't exactly look so happy with his DP. So kind of where do you think he stands with Neville, and do you think we see him back in the starting lineup soon?
So, look, I will reiterate what I've said on Twitter and on Miami Total Football Radio this week. I think he's in the doghouse. I think that image was very clear. Now, again, this is just my opinion. It's not information I've gotten, nothing I've heard. But this is I would imagine he's in the doghouse just based off Phil Neville's reaction because, you watch a lot of soccer. I watch a lot of soccer. And normally coaches don't react that angrily to a shot that was saved, right? It's not like Rodolfo Pizarro skied this one from the 6-yard box into row Z. It was a shot that was saved by FC Cincinnati goalkeeper Kenneth Vermeer. And coaches normally, maybe they express dismay or bewilderment, and they're like, maybe frustration, but not even. Usually you just see the hands on the heads or the hands over the faces or, lamenting the missed opportunity. But Phil was irate, man, and kudos to the Fox crew for catching that and making a point to put it onto the broadcast that late in the game because I do think it was part of the narrative of the match. I think it's a big talking point because coaches don't normally react like that. If you look at his technical staff, they all do the pretty standard hands over the face, hands on heads, in disbelief. But Phil was in incredible Hulk mode, man. He was snarling. Any longer. Had he been angry any longer, I think foam would have come out of his mouth. But I think it just shows that I think it's an accumulation of things. I think it shows that he's probably frustrated with Pizarro and not performing or not living up to the expectations that he needs to be for this team to get to where it wants to be because obviously he's one of the 3 DPs.
Yeah, and the man who started in his place has been really good this year. I mean, normally coming on as a substitute in Federico Higuain, played 77 minutes last week, which is, I kind of wondered. I kind of wondered how his fitness is, given that he hadn't played a whole lot since his injury a couple years back, and he is 36 years old. So, do you think that Federico's performance last week, and obviously there's going to be some weeks where you have midweek matches, a lot of weeks where you don't, so, he may not be necessarily an every single game starter, but do you think his performance last week in going 77 minutes probably makes Phil feel a lot better about the idea of, hey, this can be my guy from minute one?
Yeah, no, look, I'm glad you brought him up. And I think I don't answer the second part of your last question about Pizarro and whether he gets back into there at the number 10. So I'll just start by saying I just wrote a piece that's about to drop literally in the next minute or two on Federico Higuain and turning back the clock with his difference-making performances as the 10 for Inter Miami. Something we talked to Phil Neville about yesterday, something we talked to Federico about. Like you mentioned, it was his longest appearance in 2 years, almost 2 years, because of the torn ACL he suffered when he was with the Columbus Crew back in 2019. So, the fact that he was able to hold up and make an impact and influence the game in so many different ways, I think bodes well for him. Don't think it necessarily bodes well for Pizarro standing and him getting back into lineup, especially not this weekend. I don't see Pizarro getting back into lineup this weekend. I think it'll be Higuain, Federico at the 10th spot again because and I asked him about this yesterday. Does Phil give him freedom, or is it by instruction the way he plays when he gets on the ball? And Federico said, look, when we have the ball, Phil gives me freedom to move about and find the game and do what I need to do or express myself in how I see the game. And he, against Cincinnati, you saw it all facets. He would drop into deeper spots to help pick up the ball and help circulate it to keep spells of possession going and to build up attacking sequences. Then he would move into higher spots and pull the strings and create for others. He plays that through ball into Lewis Morgan that ends up back at his right foot, which he then, great creativity, great vision, flicks it on to his brother, and Gonzalo scores that 38th minute goal. So, he helped make a difference with the build out. He helped create, and obviously he helped set up a goal as well. So a very good performance for him personally, especially everything that's going on, him coming off the injury, and then obviously the passing of his mother. So great development for him on the field, and I would expect him 100% to start tomorrow.
Well said. We're joined here by Franco Panizo from SBI Soccer and Miami Total Football. He joins us here on Onside Radio. It was a lot of fun last week going into new stadium and spoiling the party ultimately for FC Cincinnati. That was great. And now that was a winnable game, of course, and Inter Miami did win it. They have what looks like another winnable game tomorrow against Chicago Fire. What are you expecting, Franco? And are Inter Miami going to have a winning streak going?
I think so. Obviously, that's just me from the outside talking and being a pundit, but I think so. Chicago Fire are in a bad way. They've lost their last 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, and the last 3 they have not scored a single goal. So they're in a bad way. They haven't really seemed to click under Rafael Wiki. He seems to still be trying to figure out what his best team is, and it seems like he's far off from establishing that. So obviously going on the road is always a tough challenge in MLS, but you got to expect that Inter Miami picks up 3 points here. I think anything less than 3 points would probably be a little bit of a disappointment, given where Chicago is, given how Inter Miami is coming off a confidence-building win. Players are back healthy. I've also heard that there will be a good sizable turnout from Inter Miami fans for this game. That's been in the works for several weeks, so they'll have a good portion of La Familia at Soldier Field tomorrow, pushing them on. So I think anything less than 3 points tomorrow would be a disappointment for this team. But again, I think we'll see more of what we saw against FC Cincinnati, trying to build out a little bit more, trying to put the game on their terms, while also trying to avoid the defensive mistakes that happened in that second half of the game. But if I've predicted on Miami Total Football Radio a big blowout win, with Inter Miami winning by several goals. But we'll see. MLS is wild in that way. It looks like it can go one way, and then it ends up going a completely different way.
And, dude, we're 8 days away from the big DC United game here. And I say here because we broadcast live here from Drive Pink Stadium. I mean,
office in South Florida.
Absolutely. How pumped are you, man, to cover a game where we're going to have full capacity here for the first time?
Yeah, it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. It's kind of been like a tease because, it's been slowly, incrementally building up with more fans getting into the stadium, but we haven't seen it at full voice. But it should be an incredible atmosphere. I'm kind of not upset. Upset's not the word, but I'm a little disappointed that Inter Miami is going to be wearing these blue jerseys, which I know is for a good cause. Right. It's their first game in front of the jam-packed house, and they're going to be wearing this new blue jersey that they just released this week, rather than their predominant, black or white one. But as long as there's 18, 19,000 fans, we'll take that because I think it can make for a heck of an atmosphere, especially with La Familia leading the charge. During that rain-delayed game last week against CF Montreal, I walked around the stadium for a bit during the 2-hour delay and caught footage and spent time just watching La Familia do its thing under the bleachers for about 30, 45 minutes. It was impressive, up there with some of the best supporters sections that I've seen or been up close and personal with. So kudos to them and looking forward to that game. Absolutely.
Do you think at any point in the next couple of years they get a pink jersey? I know they've had it for a practice shirt because honestly, I think it would look incredible. And I don't know exactly if the MLS has like really strict rules on jersey color, but to me, I think a pink would be light enough that could be considered the home jersey, unless MLS has like a rule that it absolutely has to be white. I don't know if they have that or not, because I know some European clubs will have like a really light color as a home jersey. Like I've seen Palermo, they have pink jerseys as their home kit. So at some point we got to get those, right? Because I think that would look fantastic.
Well, I've asked David Beckham the last 2 years about that. Last year, I'm trying to remember what his exact response was, but last year he played a little more diplomatic and was like, well, the colors we have now are good, more or less along the lines of what I remember him saying. This year when I asked him, he was more along the lines of like, look, the team wears pink every day and we know the fans are clamoring for it, so we're listening to that feedback and, stay tuned, more or less is along the lines of what he said. So I have something that I might be sharing soon. But just stay tuned. Stay tuned because it might not be that far off.
It sounds to me like if this happens, I'm going to give Franco credit because it sounds to me like you have been chipping away at Beckham like gradually over the last couple of years. Like you've been pestering him enough that we're finally going to do this thing.
Yeah, I'm a soccer person. I was a soccer fan before I was a soccer reporter. So I know that jerseys are an important part of the soccer culture and something that fans and supporters and people that follow teams and are fans of teams care about. So obviously with Inter Miami being, the team that had adopted pink on its logo and, has pink on the stadium, it only made sense for them to have a pink, game jersey. But they didn't go with that for whatever reason during these first couple of years. But that could soon change, especially if you listen to what David Beckham and Jorge Mas are saying, because I think they know that the pink has been really well received here, and I think maybe it's not information, but I think maybe that's what they were maybe a bit reluctant about in the first 2 years. Maybe they were like, all right, maybe South Florida won't adopt the pink, so let's just have jerseys that are white and black predominantly with touches or accents of pink. But maybe now they've seen how popular those pink training tops are, and maybe now they're starting to change course.
Well, I love to hear it, and I always love chatting with you. Franco Panizo does an awesome job. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, @FrancoPanizo. Make sure you check out his work at sbisoccer.com and listen to his awesome pod. He and Steve Brenner do a great job on Miami Total Football Radio. Thank you so much, Franco, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Likewise, brother. We'll talk again soon.
Good stuff. Great stuff, and I love it, man. I've been clamoring for the pink shirts. I mean, the training top that they've used looks great. I want to see it on game day. Later this hour, we're going to talk with Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Get the usual Friday honesty from Omar. Before we get to that, coming up next, I know our Hurricane friends are jonesing for some news. Now, just a fair warning, I do have some really, really unfortunate news, a very, very serious note that I do want to touch on when we come back. And then we'll lighten up the mood later on in the program as well. So Omar Kelly joining us later this hour, 4:35. Going to talk a little Miami Hurricanes when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com because every week you can keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. So catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Big O, Tito is not allowed in the Boom Boom Room. Never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Never seen Top Gun. What's the matter with these kids? Look at that. Now you can't hang out with Salma, Paige, Sophia. See, now you can't hang out with the ladies because you have not seen Top Gun.
Yeah, I would just hope that, like I said, the Boom Boom Room is sanitized. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, but did you hear about the 81-person orgy?
No.
What is wrong with you?
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnsideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnsideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
Fish fans, time to reel in the latest news in baseball with OnsideRadio.com's Marlins Minute. Here's Christian Chase.
Marlins took on the Phillies looking for the series win last night, and they got it. The Marlins have been struggling as of late, but it looks like these past two games they're starting to put a little bit more of the pieces together, right? Miguel Rojas went deep with a homer. Garrett Cooper went deep with a homer. And even more importantly, Sandy Alcantara back in ace form. The dude 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. He walked 3, but lowered that ERA that jumped over 4 back down to 3.63. The guy is elite. The changeup was disgusting. And I think one of the bigger underrated moments of last night was Garrett Cooper getting back to who he seemed to be last season. The guy was the second best statistical hitter on the Marlins last year, and he struggled up to this point. There's no denying that. But last night, a homer, a triple, and he's been silently climbing his way back up in average, hits, and now that power's starting to come back. So he's going to be a big force for a Marlins team looking to go into playing the Mets and take some games.
Keep up with the latest on the Miami Marlins by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Huge thanks again to Franco Panizo, SBI Soccer. God, he teased me with that talk about pink kits. I want it so bad, man. I want the pink jerseys. And yeah, definitely. If you're David Beckham and Jorge Mas, you've got to be seeing the buzz. People are embracing the pink. They love it. They want to wear pink kits. They want the pink jerseys. So hopefully we get them at some point. Now, we've had them on training kits, and it's looked awesome. So it's not as though you can't buy a pink Inter Miami kit right now, because you can buy it. But, you know, knowing it's the training kit, it's a little bit different than having the actual one that the players wear on game day. So I want to see it on the players. I want to see it on TV. I want all of that. So huge thanks again to Franco for joining us. Lee Sterling gave us our best bets for the weekend a little bit earlier. Omar Kelly is going to join us in around 11 minutes. Now, I told you I wanted to get into something serious here. You know, we have a lot of fun on these shows. We're you know, a lot more humorous than serious 95% of the time, but I don't even know what to say. I feel so much pain and so much anguish and hurt on behalf of the Raskin family. Canes fans know what I'm talking about. If you've seen over the last several months the hashtag Luka to the U, right? It's been trending a number of times locally. A little boy with leukemia, Luka Raskin, young Luka Raskin. You know, we've known for some time that he's been sick, and he's a gigantic Miami Hurricanes fan, and Manny Diaz had embraced him, and he kind of become like an adopted, you know, member of the football team. And we got the very, 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 very sad news last night. His father tweeted out that the young man passed away, and it's heartbreaking, man. He tweeted out late last night, Luka left this earth at 6:51 this evening. That was yesterday, while being held by mom and dad and surrounded by loved ones. Thank you for all your continued support and love for my family, Luka and I. As always, hashtag Luka to the U. There's no words, man. There's nothing you can say that can take away any of that pain from those parents. And you know, any parent who's listening to this, and you know, I've got a son named Luka, and my Luka is 3 years old, and he's the absolute love of my life. He's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and you know, I thank God every day that he's a happy little boy, and that he hasn't had to go through anything like that. So I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, give the family as much support as you can on social media. Keep the hashtag trending, Luka to the U, because the young man who had so much love in his heart and so much passion for Miami, and I know how much his family had passion for him, young Luka Raskin, passed away last night of leukemia. There's nothing in the world more heartbreaking than that, than children, you know, succumbing to a terrible, terrible disease like that. And I don't even know that's a hole in the hearts of that family that will never ever be filled, right? I mean, give them as much love and support and passion as possible, and let them grieve. You know, I know that his father, you know, his father wanted to, you know, share it on social media because so many people were following, you know, Luka's story and everything. So, you know, he felt it was the right thing to do to share it with everyone. But I would not blame him if he just wanted to disappear and grieve for a while, the dad, because it's just terrible, man. So send as much love, prayers, passion, positive vibes as you possibly can to that family, because I cannot even imagine the pain, and I never want to imagine that sort of pain. Keep it trending, man. Hashtag Luka to the U, and heaven has gained a new angel today. There's no doubt about that. Hey, if you want to get at us on the text line, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. You can get at us as well on the YouTube chat. If you didn't realize you can watch us, listen to us, stream us on YouTube, go to youtube.com, search for Onside Radio. Our channel's going to pop right up. Subscribe to our channel, And when you get in there and you're watching us live, just smash that like button. Smash the thumbs up button. Help us finesse that algorithm. And this video is going to spread out to more and more people who love South Florida sports. So help us spread the word of Onside Radio, because we've been around since late October, and we're doing big, big things here locally, man. So on a much lighter note on the Miami Hurricanes, so I noticed, and kudos to the people at InsideTheU.com for posting this. It looks like the odds makers are getting a little bit kinder to the Miami Hurricanes with the odds of them winning the ACC and at least winning the Coastal, right? We're going back to the divisional thing this coming season. We didn't have divisions last year. The ACC was just one big happy family, and Notre Dame gets let in for one season. We're back to the old format next year. Now, as we know, the Clemson Tigers are the big favorites to win the conference. Minus 900 now, Clemson are favored to win the ACC, according to FanDuel. That means you'd have to bet $900 just to win your bet back, plus 100 on Clemson if they win the ACC. But for a while, it had been North Carolina with the second best odds and Miami with the third best odds. And the gap is closing, my friends. So Miami is now tied for the second best odds to win the ACC at plus 1,000. Same odds as North Carolina. So they are now considering it a toss-up between Miami and North Carolina. And, of course, if they've got the same odds to win the conference, you would figure they've got the same odds to win the Coastal Division as well. And I'm not saying that Miami's the best team in the ACC, but I think they might be the best team in the Coastal. We're really going to find out what Sam Howell is made of this year. He's lost a lot of weapons. He's lost a lot of playmakers, and thank goodness, Javonte Williams and the other running back, his name escapes me, are both gone, and De'Ami Brown is gone now. He's lost some of his best weapons, so hopefully that offense comes back down to earth a little bit, the one that put 62 points on Miami and like 550 rushing yards last year. That was in our building. That was at our home stadium. We got to travel up there this coming year, so it's not going to be easy, but hopefully Miami gets a little bit better, North Carolina gets a little bit worse, and the odds would indicate that Miami is being given a chance, at least in the Coastal, if not so much in the ACC. And I know our pal Jakari Givens from 5 Reasons Sports does think Miami has closed the gap with North Carolina this coming year. We talked about that with him earlier on this week, man. All right, so you know what we're going to get when we come back? We're going to get the Friday Honesty from our pal Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. I got a lot to get into with Omar, and not to mention, of course, Miami Dolphins stuff, but Omar tweeted something a few days ago. It angered me a little bit. And I know Omar has a habit of making people upset on social media. Omar tweeted the other day about how much he hated the movie Tenet. He and his wife tried to watch it. He said they both got like really bored, and his wife like got up and started cleaning the house during the movie, which he took as a sign of it being terrible. I loved it. I loved every second of that movie. And I see Nordy nodding her head on that as well. Alex, you're a Christopher Nolan fan, right? I thought Tenet was a masterpiece. Did you like that movie?
I thought it was terrible.
You did? What?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I think we're abstract. I think you're right. Bro, you have to know about me, Alex. I'm such a snob with movies. I have this whole Emperor's New Clothes thing that goes on when I watch films. Like, you remember the old fable, The Emperor's New Clothes, where the emperor was actually naked, but people would be like, well, what is he wearing? And he's like, oh, this is these beautiful clothes. And I'm like, oh, yes, I can see them. They're so great. I'm like that when I watch movies. Some of my favorite movies are movies I do not understand, because I like being humbled by complex plots. And it's why Christopher Nolan is one of my faves. Stanley Kubrick was one of my favorites. Bro, I mean, I loved the movie Eyes Wide Shut, and it's not just because there were boobies everywhere. I was like, what the hell is going on? What is going on? And same thing with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Dude, I probably watched that movie 6 times. Like, I've read articles written about it. I still have no freaking idea what's happening in that film. And same thing with Tenet. Like, dude, the bullets are moving backwards, and some people are moving forwards through time, and other people are moving backwards through time. It's a goddamn masterpiece. I don't even want to understand it. I don't. So I'm gonna ask Omar what the hell his problem was when we come back, and we're gonna talk about a lot of different things with Omar Kelly. We'll talk to him about what the new playbook is gonna look like. With Eric Studesville and George Godsey now crafting that. We're going to talk about the offensive line because he loves the trenches, man. We're going to get into all that and more with Omar Kelly when we come back. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., our guy Sean Stanley hosts the Square Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than the roof above the people you love. At Onside Radio, we recommend Chase Roofing and Contracting. At chaseroofing.com, they care about the customer. Chase Roofing provides reliable roof installation and repair without the destruction to our environment. Chase Roofing is powered by Tamara, who is owner and operated for 18 years. Chaseroofing.com is Google top rated and a AAA standing with the Better Business Bureau. Open 24/7. Call them today. Trust chaseroofing.com to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
Florida Panthers are back at it and are back in the series, getting a much-needed win in overtime over the Tampa Bay Lightning 6-5. Ryan Lomberg scored on a breakaway 5:56 into the overtime period. The Lightning lit the lamp 5 times in period 2, causing Coach Q to pull Chris Drieger and insert Sergei Bobrovsky, who stopped all 9 shots he faced in the third period in overtime. The teams are back at it tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Tampa Bay leads the series 2-1. The Miami Marlins beat the Philadelphia Phillies 6-0 and take Game 3 of their series over Philadelphia. Sandy Alcantara went 6 innings, allowing 2 hits, and home runs from Garrett Cooper and Miguel Rojas were more than enough for the win. Marlins come back home for a weekend series against the Mets. Jordan Holloway is on the mound for your Fish. The Miami Heat get their NBA playoff first-round matchup with the Milwaukee Bucks started at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Inter Miami CF is in action this Saturday at 6, and pregame is live from Dangerous Minds Brewing at 5 with Alex Donno and Big O. Then Chris Whittingham, Thomas Brogdon, and Fernando Fiori for the call of the game. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up is more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSiteRadio.com.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Brace yourself. You might not hear what you want. You can always expect Omar to keep it real, whether you like it or not. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sun Sentinel writer Omar Kelly. EJD is your one-stop shop, custom home builder, and general contractor for residential construction. Call them 305-433-4843. Find them on Facebook at EJD Construction. Here's Omar Kelly with your Miami Dolphins report segment.
You know, we love to get that Friday honesty. Weekend is almost here, and Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun Sentinel joins us on the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. So, Omar,
what do you? Hold on, Donald.
Yeah.
What do you mean the weekend is almost here? It's 4:00. You think anybody's working now?
Yeah, it's a good point. You know what? The weekend starts when I'm done, bro. I mean, I get off at 6. I get off at 6. I consider the weekend starting at 6.
There's nobody who's got a 9-to-5 job who's actually doing anything productive this hour.
You're probably right about that. Now, I got plenty of Dolphin stuff I want to get into, but you tweeted something that had nothing to do with sports that really broke my heart. You and your wife, you hated the movie Tenet. Dude, I loved that movie. I loved it. Why did you hate it?
Are you serious?
I loved it. I love movies I don't understand. I love really complicated sci-fi. Inception was another movie by the same director. That's one of my favorites. You know,
okay.
and I loved Tenet.
But you do admit that you didn't understand it when you watched it initially, right?
Not at all, and I think that's one of the reasons I loved it. It was mind-bending. Like, sometimes, Omar, I had to, pause it to, figure out, okay, so wait, so who's going backwards and who's going forwards right now? I loved it.
Why? So imagine yourself watching this in a movie theater. It was just brutal. Like, people say, oh, to really enjoy this movie, you got to go watch the YouTube so they can break it down for you. I'm like, what am I watching?
Right.
Game of Thrones here?
I did that. Oh, and that was great. I watched 7 YouTube videos about it, and I still don't get it.
It's so confusing. Normally my wife has, she's tolerant for bad movies. She could tolerate bad movies. But when she literally got up to go clean the kitchen, maybe 90 minutes into the movie, I knew it was bad. I was committed to finishing it, and I did. But, that was one of the worst movies I've seen this decade.
Yeah, my wife didn't like it either. I watched it with her. And then another one that years ago in the movie theater, I don't know if you saw this. It was it did kind of develop a kind of a big following, but it was not like a huge movie. It was this movie about an artificial intelligence robot. The movie was called Ex Machina. and it got kind of famous because like the woman who played like the AI robot is kind of hot. And she got naked in the movie, so the movie did get some traction. But it was like a really complicated, depressing sci-fi movie. And I saw it this was probably around 2015 something when it came out, and I saw it in the theaters with my wife. And like I was really into the movie, so we weren't like talking to each other because we were in the theater. We get out of that movie, and I look over at my wife, and I'm like, that movie was incredible. And she looks at me and she goes, "Are you kidding? That's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life." So I've had these experiences with my wife before.
Yes. The worst movie I've ever seen in a theater was like Mulholland Drive or something like that.
I've heard of that. I didn't see it, though.
To this day, I still can't explain it to you, and I'm not sure I'd ever watch it again. I hate movies that you have to like study. Like if it's a series like Game of Thrones, okay, yeah, it's important to study what's going on, the characters till you fully get immersed into it. But a 2-hour movie, I'm sorry, no, I'm not. I shouldn't have to have a cheat code to figure it out. And here's my thing about Tenet. It just moves so fast.
It does.
It just moves so fast. It just like you're a week further in a snap of a finger. And I just thought that, character development, like all of a sudden he's got his first mission, and then all of a sudden he's stored in like the ocean, and then he gets his next assignment all in like 15 minutes. Like what?
Oh man, we'll have to disagree. We'll have to agree to disagree on that one. Now, you Omar, I know you love studying the trenches, and I appreciate it because as a ball watcher, I need your perspective on this stuff. You wrote a piece in the Sun Sentinel about the Dolphins' O-line. So what's your feeling coming into this year? Because obviously the O-line last year was really young. They've added to it a bit. How do you feel about this Dolphins O-line heading into 2021?
I hear and understand the saying of patience and hope and young guys developing, and that's all well and good, but I will preface that by saying this. The offensive line has sucked for 2 decades with 2 years of exceptions in 2008 and 2016.
The Unicorns.
And in those, the Unicorns and then the Wildcat.
Yeah.
And in those seasons, you produced a winning record. One time you won the AFC East, and you made it to the playoffs. So in the 2 years that you had good offensive lines, think about your 20 years of history as a Dolphins fan. What is the underlying theme between when you've been good? You've had good O-line play. That's just the universal. That's the carry. You had good O-line play, and probably you produced turnovers. And how people haven't figured out that that's the key to this team turning the corner outside of obviously getting a good quarterback and developing a good quarterback. I don't know, but to me, that they've added 2 veterans, just like last year. They added 2 veterans, Skora and Fluker, and they added 2 draft picks in Liam Eichenberg and Larnell.
Yeah, right.
Eichenberg and Larnell something. I don't even remember his name. Then they paid $130,000 to sign an undrafted rookie guard. And I'm all for adding to this unit because what I saw last year was not good enough, was never going to be good enough. And if you just think that, oh, these guys are going to get better and then we're going to be good enough, my answer to that is no, it's not. So I'm optimistic, but as I wrote in that column, I think this team is cursed from an O-line standpoint. I really do. And if you just add up all the sagas that we've had, in the column I talked about, Bullygate. Then we had the white powdery substance situation. Those are all been O-line.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand? And I'm just like, something's going on here. Where when you had the Unicorns, they just couldn't stay healthy together. They just couldn't stay healthy. But something's happening here, and we got to figure out what we need to do to end this voodoo curse.
We need more incognitos. I mean, I loved that dude. I mean, I know they chased him out of town because of the Bullygate thing. I was a huge
he's
fan.
Still playing in the league, I think. Yeah,
he's with the Raiders. I think.
I'm scared to know what happens to Richie when he does stop playing, and which is why I think the Raiders or somebody continues to keep giving him a job, because
you're probably right. They're saving society by not letting that guy get out of the league. Like he'll play until he's 60.
You're probably right. Like, I fear for Richie when he doesn't have football, and and I like Richie, and I get it that he, I'm sorry, but people don't understand. Football players aren't always wired properly.
Right.
I would guesstimate, and you've been in the locker room, so probably about 30% of them are crazy.
Yes.
Like, am I accurate, or do you think I'm a little off?
No, I mean, because sometimes I'm surprised by how many normal-ish dudes you find in these locker rooms, but overall, there's enough crazy. I'd say somewhere between 30 to 35%.
Yeah, and the thing about football is the guys like Richie, crazy has a place for them. Crazy, they have a place. It's football.
Yeah.
And, I'm scared to know what happens to Richie when he doesn't have football, as we've seen what's happened to him when he didn't have football.
Yeah, no, I hear you completely. Meanwhile, in somewhat related news, because he certainly depends on the offensive line, I do find myself geeking out to videos of Tua Tagovailoa's
Oh my God! No,
footwork.
you're not. Are you serious?
Of
Are you
course.
serious?
It's the off season. What else do I have going on? And he's got a beard. He looks more muscular.
I knew you were going to say he's growing a beard.
I got a man
He
crush.
does not look more muscular. He does not look more muscular. So people need to stop that. Okay, he's wearing his Adidas. He's all greased up. It's a photo opportunity. I swear to God, I've seen him do the same footwork last year. It's like. Is Tua working? Absolutely. The fact that you needed to see him in his Adidas, wearing his bows, all greased up with his new beard, that got you excited. Props to his marketing people. But like, for real, Donno, come on. When the action is live, when the bullets are real, when a pass rusher is bearing down on him and wants to smash him into the ground and make him a pancake. We'll learn whether or not Tua has improved or not. What showing you his footwork through a drill with his perform trainers, come on, Donno. I expect better from you.
It's the off season, man. I got nothing else going on. I mean, listen, I got other sports going on, but it's like I'm not getting a football fix from anywhere. Tua's beard is the only thing I have right now. Let me have
that is pretty sexy, man. I gotta admit, I'm a beard guy. When you had a beard, I was big into your beard. So I'm excited about the fact that he's growing a beard. We'll see, but Tua's also got to get better haircuts, man. And I've been. You're like that, like you knew that. Like, his haircuts have been very.
Well, I don't have any hair. I'm not the expert, but he should get Cam Wake's guy. Is the same guy still at the facility?
Yeah, but I don't think Tua uses him. Tua's got to tighten up on that fade. He's kind of he kind of gets a soup bowl cut, and it's a little problematic for me. My quarterback can't have a soup bowl cut.
I love the things we end up breaking down. Last thing I want to get your take on before we wrap it up. We're joined here by Omar Kelly on Onside Radio. Myles Gaskin addressed the media earlier this week, and among interesting things he said, he talked about the changing playbook. Like, what do you think? What do you think the offensive playbook might look like this coming year, and how do you think that Godsey and Studesville can tailor that more around Tua?
I think it's going to be tailored more around Gaskin and the run game.
Okay.
If you've paid attention to Brian Flores and what he wants to be, what team he wants to have, he wants a balanced offense, and he wants a team that's physical and tough. How do you become a physical and tough team? You run the football, or you prove that you can run the football. Even though they were such a struggle city when it comes to rushing per yards per carry, they averaged 3.9 yards per carry. That was 29th in the league. They still were top 12 in terms of attempts. So just imagine if you're the 29th worst at something, but you're going to run it more than all but 11 teams, you're committed to it. And I think that they are going to stay committed to the run game. So I think that's part of the reason you see Stoodsville in there as an OC, and Gotze has a history running the football, considering he's really only coached mediocre quarterbacks. So I think Osweiler. Osweiler in Houston got Gotze fired. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I forgot about the timeline that was the same exact time he was there. That makes sense. I mean, Osweiler was garbage there.
Osweiler was garbage. Like, I'll give you a pass for that. Like, I'm intrigued with Gotze, and I've done my homework. And when I did my homework, when I discovered that Osweiler was his quarterback, I was like, man, you get a pass for that whole season. That whole season, I just like, it's one of those things where a kid's failing like elementary school, and you just don't want to keep 12-year-old in the 6th grade. So just like, just go on ahead, go on through.
I'm glad you brought that up because obviously, like, I knew Gotze was a former OC and a play caller in Houston.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the Osweiler season. That makes a lot more sense now.
and they went to the playoffs. Like, keep in mind, like, I think his 3 years as OC, they went to the playoffs, but they had a horrible offense all those years.
Wow.
And Osweiler was his quarterback for one season.
Jeez.
Got the man fired.
That's too bad. Hey, before I let you run, I wanted to pass along a message because one of the guys in our YouTube chat, believe it or not, like he's got a Google profile, but he doesn't have social media. So Joseph, he said I don't have social media, but I'd like to thank Omar for all of his hard work on covering the Finns. And he says, congrats on your beautiful daughter, Mila. He says, I have a 2-month-old girl, Gianna. So the new dads unite.
Oh, the new dads unite, man. I'm just getting past it. We're just getting past the gas issue that we've had for 2 months.
Yeah, you were telling me about that before.
They say they're once they get to the 3-month threshold, they start to digest a little bit better and a little bit more comfortable. But man, gas was kicking her booty, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, my kid had reflux, so it's always something, man, gas or reflux or whatever it is. Yeah, my kid, anytime he used to drink milk, it would be like a matter of time before it just all comes up every single time.
What was I going to say to you? It's better than the ear infections. I haven't had a kid with ear infections, and I just feel like those are the worst. Like kids who have to have their ears drained or their sinuses drained or something like that.
We had that once with my kid. Yeah, my kid only had one of those, and because Omar, when I was little, when I was a baby and like 2 years old, my parents tell me I had ear infections all the freaking time. So my parents were the parents who had to deal with that all the time with me.
So you're that loser kid. Okay.
No argument there. Hey, Omar, we got to run, man. We're up against it. Thank you so much, as always, for the time.
No food this week?
Okay, real quick, because, we did have something. I spent so much time on Tenet with you. But, Omar, what do you think is the most overrated food? Because I had a list that included things like popcorn, sorbet, brown rice, dark chocolate. Lasagna? Oh, I love lasagna. Oh, and I guess that works because to you it's overrated because so many of us love it.
Think about I used to make lasagna because I used to live in a scholarship house where we had to cook for everybody.
Okay.
And I used to have to make lasagna, and I made a good lasagna because, it's really just chemistry. It's really just layering.
Yeah.
And literally, it took me like 90 minutes to make a goddamn meal. Like, seriously? And like people who make you lasagna absolutely love you because it's so damn time consuming.
Yeah, my father makes lasagna sometimes, but it's a special occasion thing, and it takes him way more than 90 minutes. I think it takes him like whatever method he uses, it's like a 3-hour thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just talking about the layering process.
Oh, yeah,
the cooking process.
Yeah.
Yeah, so making a lasagna is more complicated than cooking a turkey. Like, so it's definitely an overrated food.
Oh man, well, we appreciate your time as always, man. Enjoy your weekend coming up, Omar.
All right, Donna.
Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly. Check out his work in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. 5 o'clock hour coming up, man, and we're going to bring on up next the blonde bomber, former Florida Panther Bill Lindsay. He's going to break down what was last night. Awesome comeback win and what we can expect from Game 4 tomorrow. Keep it locked right here to OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
When you want a perfectly straight smile without braces, you can count on MoodyAsDental.com. A stunning smile is within reach. Learn more about Invisalign. Find out why so many trust the Moody-Ass family. Dr. Moody-Ass is an inventor and has several patents on innovative surgical instruments that are used around the world. Experience a family environment and trust on a worldwide level. From implants to crowns to a beautiful Invisalign smile. Call 305-821-0231. That's 305-821-0231. Or go to the website at MoodyAsDental.com.
Welcome back to Miami Sports Music for the Fans. To reach out to Stephen D, send a text to 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Here's the man connecting with Miami sports fans worldwide, Stephen D. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey, what's up? It's Toast, and I've been telling you guys all about my buddies over at B&T Windows and Doors. And some of you said, hey, listen, Toast, I'd love to get PGT custom windows and doors installed, but funds are a little tight right now. No problem, bro. Y Green. You can finance it with B&T Windows and Doors through Y Green, so you can still get your PGT custom windows and doors installed. And yeah, you're not going to have to put anything down. It's awesome. That's the way I got mine installed. Call B&T Windows and Doors today. They'll tell you all about Y Green and how to finance your windows. 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of Onside Radio ownership, management, sponsors, website, or Inter Miami Marketing, LLC. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome in to the third hour, 5 o'clock hour. Man of the Match here with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno, and I'm taking you guys up until 6 o'clock today. So, you know, I mentioned, I keep saying the weekend is almost here. Omar Kelly called me out on that. But listen, to me, the weekend does not officially start until I am done on Friday. That's an hour from now. Now, very, very happy to bring in our pal, former Florida Panthers player, Florida Panthers analyst, and NHL Network analyst, the great blonde bomber Bill Lindsay joins us. Bill, I'm still recovering from the adrenaline rush that I had at the end of that game last night. How are you doing? And quite frankly, what was it like to call that game? Because that had to be incredible.
Emotional roller coaster. I have more trouble, Alex. I have more trouble with my emotions calling a game and being a fan than I did playing.
Wow.
Because when you played in the hockey games, you had control over it and you felt that you had to go out there and do your job. You were nervous about the situations, but you're on the ice and playing out and living your dream. Once you're retired and you become a fan and you don't have control over the situation, it becomes incredibly difficult to ride that roller coaster ride. But in the end, it was fantastic to call the game, finish, see the Panthers come back. But I'm a nervous wreck at the game, calling these playoff games. I know what fans go through and understand. Ever since I retired, I got a new appreciation for what fans have to go through when they're watching games with the frustration you see in players. And you know they're out there doing their best and giving them all, because I've been in NHL dressing rooms with pros and know how good they are at their craft. But when I got in the broadcast booth, all of a sudden I became a way better player somehow. Why'd that guy make that mistake? How could he do that? It's impossible. So it was just a thrill last night, and it was one of the funnest games that I've ever had to do as a broadcaster, and the comeback win with Womberg and everything. It was the roller coasters and everything that's gone on in this series has been truly incredible. It's been up and down, back and forth, and the Panthers down by a couple of goals. You go back to last year, Alex, and the Tampa Bay Lightning had a 41-0 record, including 26-0 this year when leading after 2 periods, and the Panthers were able to come back and break that streak. So they had 41 consecutive leads after 2 periods in which they won hockey games, and the Panthers. So it shows you how really impressive that comeback win was for the Panthers.
You know, it is funny you say that because, okay, I didn't know that stat that you just mentioned until after the game, and I'm kind of glad I didn't know it during the game because I would have been even more nervous. Now, you are the stat man, so you probably knew that heading into the third period. So where was your mind at? Because obviously you talk about the roller coaster. I mean, Panthers had a great first period up 2-0. Second period was a disaster. They got outscored 5-1. They go into the third period against a team that never coughs up third period leads, trailing 5-3. I mean, where was your mind at, Bill? What was your expectation heading into that third period?
My expectation was just somehow get back into this. You're always clinging on to some hope, and the big thing that you're looking in the locker room, what's being said, and I've been in the locker room, is what's being said is you try and break it down into the first 10 minutes. When you're down a couple of goals, you want to score within the first 10 minutes of the third period and give yourself a chance. And Andre Plot took a really bad boarding penalty against Mason Marchment, and the Panthers went on the power play, and Panthers went with 5 forwards on the power play unit, something Tampa Bay hasn't seen all season long. New adjustment, a new wrinkle, and Hornquist was able to get the power play goal, and it's 5-4. Now you got life. Now you have a chance, and I was really interested with the way Tampa Bay played in the third period. For a team that is so explosive offensively, they dumped the puck out, and they went back to what we did in '96, the trapping style, the 1-2-2. And they did not go at all offensively. Totally changed their game plan, and the Panthers just kept dumping the puck in, getting pressure. And as the game wore on, I started to feel that the Panthers had full control here in the third period. And John Cooper and the coaching decision, I believe he got out-coached last night because if he would have said to his team in that dressing room, it's 5-3, let's try and make it 6-3, let's try and make it 7-3, Tampa Bay probably wins that game, but they sat back, and the Panthers were relentless on the forecheck, got all kinds of shots, and were able to tie it up. And then going into the overtime, had to kill a penalty, but all the momentum was on their side. So going into the third, the way the game was trending, I thought it would be a really tough task, but with the early penalty and the system that Tampa Bay played in that third period just really lent into the Panthers' hand, and they took it to them. And because of that, too, they had all the momentum and confidence going into the overtime frame.
Yeah, that was gigantic, and this is great insight we're getting here from the Blonde Bomber, Bill Lindsay, Florida Panthers analyst and NHL Network analyst. And, you know, getting that goal from the Lamborghini, it was extra special, Bill, because, you know, you always love it when not only do you get, you know, a game-winning overtime goal, but it's from someone you don't expect to be the guy scoring it. I mean, he was the only Panther who didn't have a shot on goal up until that point. So just talk us through that play, because it was pretty incredible. And even Lomberg said after the game he couldn't even really remember what happened, because I guess it was like all on instinct and adrenaline.
Yeah, instant adrenaline. And Ryan Lomberg didn't have a position on this team. He was on the taxi squad, then got a few games, and then really cemented himself the last 20 games, 15, 20 games on that fourth line. He hit everything. He fought. He stuck up for his teammates and became beloved in the dressing room. The teammates just love him, the way that he plays. And all of a sudden, Joel Quenneville had trust in him, and he skates well. And he was really noticeable the last 15 games. Even though he didn't score a lot, he generated a lot of scoring chances. And I told Doug Plagans my play-by-play partner and our friend, I said at some point during the playoffs, Ryan Lomberg's going to score a big goal. I didn't know it would be an overtime winner when they needed it most, but I said Ryan Lomberg's going to score a goal because he gets enough chances and he plays hard. So he gets out there in overtime, hadn't had a shift in a long time. It's in the defensive end. Achari wins the draw. Radko Gudas just flips it up the middle of the ice. And Ryan Lomberg, the one asset that he has is that he can skate. And he was fresh. And Victor Hedman, the defenseman on the other side, plays a lot. And it was a little chip by Vetrano. And all of a sudden, Hedman, because of the minutes, just couldn't recover. Lomberg was by him in a blink of an eye. And then there's what the problem Lomberg has with the chances is that he's just not a natural finisher, not a natural goal scorer. And he gets tons of chances, but just he hasn't been able to find the back of the net much. But he gets a breakaway, goes against the best goaltender in the NHL and just puts it top shelf. It's really hard to write that kind of stuff. But that's what makes the NHL playoffs so magical and get unexpected heroes. And Ryan Lomberg deserves credit just for fighting his way on this team, getting a position to put him in a self where he can be on the ice in overtime and score a winner. But he has done, even in the first two games of the series, his line stood out. They hit everything. They tilted the ice in the Panthers' favor and get rewarded in a huge, huge way when the Panthers absolutely needed it.
And another story in that game was Sergei Bobrovsky came on in relief of Drieger and did really well, stopped all 9 shots that he faced. And Coach Q said after the game he's never seen Bob happier. And, now we imagine Bob is going to get the start tomorrow in Game 4. So, I mean, how big do you think that was for Bobrovsky, like for his confidence to come on and play well? Can he carry that momentum into Game 4?
Well, yes, Bobrovsky can carry that momentum. He's an experienced goaltender, and he's at the age and gone through enough battles that bad games or bad situations don't bother him. And he's been there for Chris Drieger. The work ethic's always there for Bobrovsky. So whatever's in the past doesn't really he just seems to be able to focus on the moment. And the luxury the Panthers have is having the 2 quality netminders in Drieger and Bobrovsky that both can play and both can give you quality starts. Vasilevsky on the other side, the Panthers scored 9 goals in the last 2 games of the regular season, and they put up a 4 spot in Game 1, a 6 spot in Game 3. The last 5 games, he's given up 21 goals, which is over 4 goals a game. He had a goals against average just barely above 2 in the regular season. They don't have another option in net. How much fatigue is on the side of Andrei Vasilevsky? He might be a tired goaltender. It might be creeping in. And the Panthers, now you get a fresh Sergei Bobrovsky tomorrow night, and Vasilevsky's been out there playing every single minute. It favors the Panthers to have a fresh goaltender that's can be one of the best in the business going against a goaltender that's had to face a heavy workload, and maybe his confidence is a bit shaken at a stage where the Panthers have been able to get to him on numerous occasions.
Do you have a prediction for tomorrow, or at least kind of a feeling on how things could play out?
Tampa Bay is going to come out, and they're going to try and really swarm and get started in that first period. Panthers had a good first period last night, took the crowd out of the game. But you got to be able to come out, and that first goal, again, is going to be huge. Tampa Bay, if they get the lead in that type of situation, we saw the numbers, they probably don't squander it again. Panthers have to force Tampa Bay to play catch-up hockey. So that first period, that first goal becomes ginormous in this situation. If they get off to that good start, then it plays into the Panthers' hand. Because when Tampa Bay has to play from behind, all of a sudden their defensemen have to join the rush. They have to get a little bit extra aggressive. And the Panthers now can work that transition game. They can catch their defensemen if they play good defensive hockey and go the other way and transition. And the Panthers were the second best team in the NHL when scoring off the rush this season. They are dynamic when they get the puck and they turn it over and they create those 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s. So if the Panthers can have that lead and force Tampa Bay to be extra aggressive, the Panthers are really good defensively, and then all of a sudden maybe they get those 3-on-2s, 2-on-1 opportunities. And the other thing, it comes down to both these teams staying out of the penalty box because both the power plays have been really good. Tampa Bay, every time they get on a power play, it looks like they're going to score. So discipline. It boils down, in my opinion, to a strong first period. If you're either tied or ahead after the first, now you got the confidence, and also just staying out of the penalty box. If you stay out of the penalty box and are the most disciplined team, this Panther team at 5-on-5 has been able to carry a lot of play. I like their chances. So we'll see what happens. It's just about getting out of the gates and starting correctly, which it can be a little bit tougher with a 12:30 start time. It's something that's different on the bodies of players. The night games, the pregame meal, the nap, and then you go to the pregame nap, go to the game. You're so ingrained with that ritual. It changes when it's an afternoon start. So you got to get your body going and get ready and get your mind sharp for that afternoon start.
Now, Bill, the last time we had you on was right before the series started, so I wanted the update after, being at games 1 and 2 in Sunrise. What's it like feeling the vibes of that playoff crowd? And I know it's not full capacity, but they sound tremendous. Like, even watching on TV and listening to the games, listening to you guys calling it sounds great. What were the vibes like in the arena?
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. Just to hear the crowd noise and get the rush back, and the players can feel it too. And you ask them, you sit on the bench, and it's one thing to play in regular season hockey games, but 27 years and you're playing your cross-state rival, and both these teams are really good. When the arena just gets jumping like that, the players get goosebumps on your skin. You can feel the electricity going through your body, and it's what you dream of as a hockey player. And when I got in the NHL playoffs, and the players, Lomberg mentioned it himself, it being a dream, the pace goes up so much faster, and you're out there and you're totally lost in the moment. There's no greater feeling as an athlete where you're just so focused on, when you get to the rink, what time do I drink my coffee? What time do I put my skates on? You become so ritualized in everything that you do that you're focused on every single task leading up to puck drop. And then when the pucks drop, you're just focused on the first shift, and then you're worried about the next shift. And that's why Lomberg said he probably couldn't really remember what happened or what focused, because you're so locked in just to the moment. He's just probably worrying about the face-off, and all of a sudden he's on a breakaway. So as an athlete, from a standpoint, the Stanley Cup Finals and playoffs in general, it's probably the same for every sport, but it's the dream. It's the regular season's something else, but this is the real season, and this is what counts. And you only have one dream once you get in the NHL, and that's to win the Stanley Cup. And the Panthers have a good team and have a chance.
Amen to that. Awesome stuff here. You guys want to make sure you follow Bill on Twitter at Lindsay B Hockey. Of course, check him out calling the games, and on NHL Network. He does a great job everywhere. Everything he does, he does awesome work, and that beautiful blonde hair of his as well. So make sure you follow Bill. Bill, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and enjoy calling that game tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate it. I always thank you for your friendship and having me on. You're a great dude, Alex, and always have been. You've been very generous to me. Appreciate it.
Oh, right back at you, man. That means a lot. Enjoy your weekend, and let's get a big Panthers win tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex.
I love it. And listen, I need a couple of other things to happen tomorrow, okay? Because this is not always in the team's control. I need to make sure Toast is wearing that lucky hat of his, and I need to make sure Kai Chen Chisholm is watching the goddamn game. Because didn't we have an issue with that? Alex, because you're around usually for the ending part of Kai's show at the very least. Wasn't there like a controversy that Kai, he's not always the devoted hockey fan he should be, and if he misses games, they do not win? I think he was watching last night, at least I hope he was, and they got the W.
Yeah, every time he says he's going to watch a game, he doesn't, and they lose.
I know what it's like, man. Sometimes, I'm very devout with the Panthers, of course, but sometimes I'm, thinking I'm going to watch a certain game, and then I get into, a Netflix rabbit hole, and it can be tough. You gotta be devoted to your team. I need Kai Chen Chisholm to be devoted to this team, man. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123 if you want to get us on the text line. I got a little a Dolphins note I want to get into next. So apparently the Miami Dolphins were not the only team that was really, really high on Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips before the draft. Plus, as much as I hate to toot my own horn, this is very rare, but I was 100% right about something that I predicted yesterday. So we got to bring it full circle when we come back. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home every Saturday morning as Cats insider David Dwork hosts Chirping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports. Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, onsideradio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. Take their famous Boot Tour Challenge, and there's now outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant or call them for reservations or pickup at 954-785-7565. So get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach to Zagat-rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Huge thanks to Bill Lindsay, who's just awesome breaking it down. And guys, like, don't forget, Game 4, Panthers and Lightning, it's going to be here before you know it. It's an early afternoon game tomorrow. Like, you're sitting down to eat your lunch. Do not forget we have matinee hockey tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. start time, man. So it's going to be here before you know it, right? Huge day tomorrow for the South Florida sports fan. Panthers Lightning Game 4 at 12:30. Heat Bucks Game 1 at 2, and then Inter Miami at Chicago Fire at 6. And that's a game we're going to have right here on Onside Radio. We're the flagship station for Inter Miami soccer. So 5 o'clock pregame time, I'm going to be down, well, I guess up or down depending on where you're located, but I'm going to be over at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. That's where we broadcast all of our away broadcasts from pregame, halftime, and postgame. We do it out there at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company. So if you want to come check us out, hang out, I highly recommend it. I've really come to love Dangerous Minds. I had never been there before we started broadcasting, but I am going to be a regular. Off season, I'm going to be going down there as much as possible because the craft beer, I'm a huge craft beer fan, is great. I tried their IPA the last time we were out there, which was really, really nice. And I'm a big fan of the Weissens, the wheat beer, and the Willie's wheat is excellent. I highly recommend it. So, and the food is great there too. The artisan pizzas are awesome. I had the Turkish lamb wrap a couple weeks ago. It was really good. So I really recommend that you come out there and join us. Whether you're coming out there to watch Inter Miami or just stopping by there for random happy hour or dinner, I highly recommend you check out Dangerous Minds Brewing Company. And we will be out there tomorrow. You can meet the Onside Radio crew. We're going to be out there. I'm probably going to get there around 4:15, 4:30, and we'll start our broadcast at 5 p.m., and we'll take you through an hour past the game with the post-game show. And I think it's going to be another Inter Miami dub. How about this? A dub for me. Rare dub, okay? Every chance I get, I like to toot my horn because it doesn't happen very often. We found out Thursday morning, that Tim Tebow had put pen to paper on his Jacksonville Jaguars contract. It was official. He signed a 1-year deal in Jacksonville. And then within minutes of the news coming out that he was officially signed, his jersey was for sale, number 85. The NFL did not waste a hot second in putting Tebow's jersey for sale. Like, he signs his contract. They clearly obviously had it prepared already on their website because NFLshop.com, boom, number 85 Tebow Jacksonville Jaguar jerseys are for sale. And I asked the question yesterday. We put out a Twitter poll, okay? And you know where my opinion was on this. I put out the Twitter poll. Between now and the start of the regular season, the timing is important, okay? Between now and the start of the season, whose jersey is going to sell more? Trevor Lawrence, number 16, or Tim Tebow, number 85? Now, Twitter poll, and the slight majority said Trevor Lawrence, and people were commenting on it. Some people did say Tebow and vote for Tebow. Other people were saying, no, Donno, you're all wrong. Lawrence is the savior. His jersey sales are going to be through the roof. You're underestimating the Tebow effect. You are underestimating the worldwide global appeal, and not only global, but he's playing in Jacksonville, and he's from Jacksonville. So every living soul in Jacksonville, men, women, babies, pets, are all wearing Tebow jerseys now for the next few months. And I say the next few months because I don't know how long he's actually going to be on the team because he may not even make the final roster. And lo and behold, as I predicted, the stats are in over the last day since they went on sale. Tim Tebow, not only does he have the number 1 selling jersey at NFLshop.com, the top 5 selling items are all Tebow. They're buying jerseys, they're buying T-shirts, they're buying mugs. Like, the top 5 selling items since yesterday morning on NFLshop.com are all Tim Tebow. So here's from this piece from ProFootballTalk.com. Time has apparently not quelled Tebow's popularity. Known as Tebow Mania during his short-lived run with the Broncos, Tebow's recent signing with the Jaguars has created a similar buzz as the 33-year-old former quarterback looks to make Jacksonville's 53-man roster as a tight end. I think this is actually, from the BigLead.com, not from Pro Football Talk. I want to make sure I get my sourcing right. How popular is Tebow, they say? Roughly 24 hours after his signing was official, Tebow had the top 5 selling items on NFLshop.com, according to Adam Schefter. Tebow, who wore the number 15 at Florida during his time and during his time as an NFL quarterback, is wearing number 85 for the Jaguars. The big question is whether or not Tebow will be wearing his jersey when the Jaguars face the Texans Week 1. While Tebow has plenty of detractors, Mike Ditka, a Hall of Fame tight end who later coached the Bears to the franchise's only Super Bowl win, believes that Tebow has the tools to succeed as a tight end in today's NFL. Number 1 selling jersey and all top 5 selling items are all Tim Tebow. Do not underestimate the power of Tebow. Now, something I want you guys to know about me. Every now and then we'll bring up Tebow. Sometimes I poke fun at his legion of fans. I am not a Tebow hater. I'm not. You know, I know a lot of people who aren't University of Florida fans or who aren't from the Jacksonville area will just talk crap about this guy. You know, why is he so overrated? Why does this guy have a following? Bros, I totally get why he has a following. One of the best college football players ever, maybe the best ever in college, okay? Now, I thought a couple years ago at LSU, I thought Joe Burrow had the single best college football season I've ever seen. But if you go by body of work, you know, for Burrow, it was only really one great year. I think Tebow he might be the best college football player of all time. So that's automatically going to get you a following when you're that amazing at the college level and you won a Heisman Trophy. And then also, like, do not discount the fact that this guy has become a voice for Christianity, okay? Like in an era where, you know, so many people of the Christian faith kind of feel like they get silenced and the woke mob doesn't want to hear about what they have to say. Like Tim Tebow is very public and open about his faith, and that's one of the reasons why the guy has a gigantic following. So for anybody who doesn't get it, I will explain it to you. The man is basically a religious icon. I mean, you've got like the Pope and then you have Tebow. Like they're almost in the same exact stratosphere, bro. He's like a half notch below the Pope. So I've seen people say this, like, oh, the jersey sales are through the roof. And I see people on social media like, I don't get why Tebow is so popular. I don't get how you don't get it. Like, it's very, very simple. And listen, a lot of people are rooting for him to succeed in this, you know, next chapter in his career. But then there are a lot of people rooting for him to fail. But listen, count me as one of the people who I think it'd be really cool if he were to succeed and find kind of a second wind in the National Football League. But I'll be real with you. I'm not expecting it. This is probably a move he should have made, you know, 7-8 years ago, right? When the quarterback thing wasn't working out for him, because we always looked at Tebow and thought he seems to have the right build, you know, the right size, you know, decent athleticism, that he should be an H-back and a tight end in this league, not a quarterback. Is clearly quarterback was something that worked for him at the college level because, you know, his versatility, but that versatility, the quarterback position, you know, when it comes to the shovel passes and the scrambling ability, that's not really something that translated to NFL success for him. So he should have done this a long time ago. And another thing that I respect about Tebow is, you know, people can talk about, oh, he's only getting this gig because he's so famous and because he and Urban Meyer are buddies going back to the time at Florida. And, you know, he shouldn't be taking a roster spot away from somebody. Like, okay, he shouldn't be taking a roster spot away from somebody else who'd be the 53rd person on the roster. But, you know, the Tebow haters, you should know that the contract that he actually signed, there's nothing abnormal about it. Like, this is the same contract that an undrafted, like, 53rd player, veterans minimum, like anybody in his spot would sign. No guaranteed money. There's no guaranteed money on it. No guaranteed money whatsoever. So if the Jaguars cut him at the end of preseason, you know, they're not losing anything. This is clearly a show me deal. Like, Tebow didn't strike some privileged deal with Urban. Like, yeah, Timmy, you know, I owe you so much. You helped me win two national titles. Blank check, bro. You know, I talked to our owner with the amazing mustache, Mr. Khan, and he's willing to cut whatever check necessary to get you out of retirement. No, Tim Tebow is not doing this for money. Like, Tim Tebow can probably make better money as a TV analyst than he's going to be making, even if he lasts the entire season with the Jaguars, okay? Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reported that the Jaguars gave Tebow a 1-year, $920,000 contract with zero guaranteed money and an injury split. That's the minimum contract. As Rappaport pointed out, this isn't much of a surprise, but it is another indication that Tebow's spot on the final 53-man roster is not guaranteed. He joins a crowded tight end room, you know, with Chris Manhertz, Luke Farrell, James O'Shaughnessy, Tyler Davis, Ben Ellefson. While he's no longer a quarterback, Tebow Mania has certainly made a comeback roughly 24 hours after his signing was official. Tebow had the top 5 selling items, as we mentioned, on NFLShop.com, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Now, I would love to know if anybody in my audience has actually purchased a Tebow jersey. this is a safe space. Admit it. Like, just I would love to know if you have, over the last 36 hours, purchased a Tim Tebow jersey. Maybe somebody listening has done that. You know, you can text us at 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123, or hop on into the YouTube chat. So please, like, for those who are already in the YouTube chat, if anybody shows up and admits they've bought a Tebow jersey, do not shame them. Like, do not poke fun at them. This is a safe space. This is a non-bullying zone. Because I would really like to know, if you have bought a Tebow Jaguars jersey, are you accepting and understanding of the idea that in 3.5 months the jersey might be obsolete? That because I don't want to hear people crying come September about, hey, NFL, I paid $125 for this Tebow jersey. Now you got to return it. How come you say no refunds? I got to get my money back. Now I am the type. The older I get, the more frugal I get. So I'm not necessarily like buying every jersey under the sun the way that I was a few years ago. But I've got a lot of jerseys in my closet because I've compiled them over the years. I bought a lot of jerseys. I have always been understanding of the idea that when you buy a jersey with a player's name on the back, okay, there are no guarantees. It's like buying fruit. Right? Sometimes you're going to bring home something that's a little bit too ripe, or you cut it open and it's just not right. Like, you understand buying a jersey that it's a snapshot in time. Because one of my big pet peeves with sports fans is people who buy a jersey of a player who gets like traded or cut a few months later, and then they're whining and complaining, oh, I can't wear my jersey. Like, no, listen, there's risk going in. And I don't think there's any shame about wearing a jersey of a guy who's not around. Like, you rock it. It's a snapshot in time. Like, and again, many jerseys I got, in my teens and in my 20s. And at one point, whatever his last year was as a Dolphin, I bought a Wes Welker number 83 Miami Dolphins jersey. And a couple months later, he wasn't on the team anymore. Like, I didn't whine. I still wore the jersey for a few more years. Like, I didn't whine and complain about it. You have to know the risk going in. A couple years ago, I was at a Dolphins game, and I noticed, because you see a lot of fans in jerseys, and I'm always curious as like who they're wearing, right? If they're wearing a current player or like an old jersey. And a few years ago, I saw somebody wearing a Deion Jordan jersey, which I'm assuming he bought right after Deion Jordan was drafted, because that's one of the biggest busts, I think the biggest bust in Miami Dolphins history. But God bless him, because like 3 years after Deion Jordan was no longer on the team, this guy's still wearing his jersey loud and proud. Like, you have to, and you know what? It's kind of like an ironic statement, because you wear a jersey of a guy who ended up being a terrible player, and it's like, it's like a hipster thing. Like, I'm making a statement like, hey, I'm wearing the jersey of the worst freaking guy we ever drafted. Like, I kind of respect that. So I don't want to hear anybody complaining. Like, if you buy a Tebow jersey, good on you. Like, you're supporting Tebow. You're saying I'm a Tebow fan. That's the message you want to send out there. But just don't be whining and complaining in September if he doesn't make the final roster. Mike No Go Zone says, do you think another reason Tebow was signed was to take the spotlight from Trevor Lawrence? I've heard that theory. That's not a bad one. That's really not a bad thought. I heard that theory like on one of the like an ESPN talking head show that I was watching in the last couple of days. I like that theory a lot because it's definitely happening, right? I mean, you've got a much heralded number 1 overall pick, rookie quarterback coming into Jacksonville. And I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence needs this, because he seems to me like a gamer, a competitor, really strong-willed player. Like, I don't think he needs this, but there's definitely a side effect with the Tebow signing is when people are talking Jacksonville Jaguars, nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence right now. I mean, this guy might be, the most highly touted quarterback drafted since John Elway. Like, he's right up there with Andrew Luck from 9 years ago. And all the pressure is off Lawrence right now because everybody is talking about Tebow. Like, maybe Tebow thought, I'm going to jump on the grenade and take all the pressure away from Trevor. I've heard that theory, and I like it. Like, I'm kind of into that. But the only doubt that I have about that, Mike, is Trevor Lawrence does not seem like the type of player who would need Tebow to take the pressure away. So I don't know if that's really a conspiracy or if that's just a side effect, because that's definitely going on. Rosendo writes in, give me that old-time religion. It was good enough for me. Herman writes, Tebow is a practice squad guy. Let me see. Does a Chad Henne jersey even exist, and has one ever been sold? I'm sure they were sold. I'm sure they were. When Henne was drafted, was he a second-round pick? Like, people knew this guy's being drafted to be hopefully our franchise quarterback. That always happens. A good buddy of mine has a Ryan Tannehill jersey, right? I mean, I think he was expecting a little bit more than we got during the 7 years of Tannehill, but for sure, there might even be some John Beck jerseys out there. Maybe not, because Beck was like never really the guy. He like started a couple games but didn't do anything. At least Chad Henne at least got an extended chance to be the starting quarterback. But I'm sure there are Chad Henne jerseys out there somewhere. Oh, I like this one a lot. Brooklyn Rob writes in, I totally would have bought this guy's jersey. I don't know why I didn't. He said the most obscure jersey I ever bought was a Rob Conrad. I was a big fan of Rob Conrad. During that era, I did have a Ricky Williams jersey, and I have no regrets. I mean, I was kind of pissed the day when he retired. Later on, I understood why he did it, but I was kind of pissed. But I didn't burn my Ricky Williams. I loved Ricky Williams. I had Ricky Williams' jersey. I had of course, I had Marinos growing up. But yeah, no, I never had a Rob Conrad. But I would have repped Rob Conrad. I love that dude. I love that. Rosendo says, sorry, Donno, I don't judge people's buying because it's their money, but in society we have more important things to spend our money on than jerseys. Yeah, like Bitcoin. Buying it at a discount today, bros. All right, well, we continue the 5 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard, exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless, and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Hey, Big O, what's going on? Listen, I just was telling your guy that answering the phone, Alex, it's just a pleasure, man, to get out of work and get in your car and be able to put on the radio and hear South Florida sports and not have to listen to some bull crap about another team from another state that you can give to a rat's ass about and sit there and have to go through all this other bull crap talk to, again, never hear them talk about your team once or twice in 20 hours. It's just an honor, and I wanted to thank you, man, for starting this thing up, man. It's balls to the walls. I love it.
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com. Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Cardiac Cats are back at it, getting a much-needed win in overtime over the Tampa Bay Lightning last night, 6-5. Ryan Lomberg scored on a breakaway 5:56 5:56 into the overtime period. The Lightning lit the lamp 5 times in period 2, causing Coach Q to pull Chris Drieger and insert Sergei Bobrovsky, who stopped all 9 shots he faced in the third period and overtime. The teams are back at it tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. Tampa Bay leads the series now 2-1. The Miami Marlins beat the Philadelphia Phillies 6-0 to take the 3-game series over Philadelphia. Sandy Alcantara went 6 innings, allowing 2 hits. Home runs from Garrett Cooper and Miguel Rojas were more than enough for the win. Marlins are back home for a weekend series against the Mets. Miami Heat get their NBA playoff matchup in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks. It starts tomorrow, and tip-off is at 2 p.m. The Washington Wizards took the 8th seed from the Pacers 142-115. They'll take on the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Tonight, the Grizzlies and the Warriors battle to see who will face the Utah Jazz in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. Inter Miami CF is in action this Saturday at 6. Pre-game is live from Dangerous Minds Brewing at 5 with Alex Donno and the Big O, and Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rognan, and Fernando Fiori on the call of the game. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. Coming up, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
When you're tired of watching the sun damage your furniture or raise your electric bill, it's time to do what we did here at OnSideRadio.com studio. Call A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise. A Shade Above Window Fashions has a great selection of blackout shades to choose from. We can almost create a complete blackout for your bedroom or media room. Call them at 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashion.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Alex Donno, and you check out, I retweeted this actually a couple times today because one of them was a comment tweet. The other was just a straight up retweet. This thing that CNN sent out today with a video. The Pentagon has confirmed that these images of UFOs, which are now known as UAPs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena. They had to change the name just for PR because, like, you know, after decades of people talking about UFOs, because when people mention the term UFO, you're thinking of some crazy drunk dude from Kentucky who thinks he got abducted by aliens last night, and you think, like, immediately no credibility, right? Like, when you hear the term UFO, you think about some lunatic, right? Where, you know, UFO, all that really means is it's not necessarily aliens, and if you see something and talk about something, it doesn't automatically say that, oh, I saw like a green man from another planet. Like, it's just something you see in the sky that cannot be explained, right? So instead of calling them UFOs, they now call them UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomena. And I'm sure in a couple decades that will sound like a crazy term and they'll change it to something else. But this is pretty remarkable anyway, that these like videos from the Pentagon of what they call, like, they refer to it as like the Tic Tac, and it's like way out like in the middle of the ocean, and it's moving like in a way that just, it defies like physics, or at least what we know about physics, and it definitely gets you thinking, right? Like, and I don't know what the better alternative is, right? It either is something that comes from another planet, and that's frightening because if, you know, there's another alien race that has this sort of technology, I hope that they like us, because if they don't, they could probably hurt us very badly, right? So it's either something extraterrestrial, or it's something that like the Russians or the Chinese have built, and that would show you they're way ahead of us technologically, and that might be worse, right? Because we know they don't really like us, right? The aliens we're not so sure about. The aliens might want to help us. I don't think no disrespect, because they're you have a lot of these rivalries internationally, but I'm pretty sure the Russians and the Chinese are not trying to help us right now. Maybe the aliens are. So I don't know what the better alternative would be. Or you know what? It might be our stuff. Maybe it's God bless America. Maybe this is the stuff we're developing behind the scenes. And maybe only a few people know about it. So I don't know, but it's pretty interesting stuff if you guys check that out. Something I was checking out, a good piece by a good writer, Josh Houts, he's part of the 5 Reasons Sports family that I'm part of, and he also writes for the Finsider. And as he pointed out, this is pretty interesting, that the Jacksonville Jaguars had very similar ratings on the guys that Miami drafted to the ratings that the Dolphins front office gave to these players. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that we have similar draft evals to the Jacksonville front office, but the Jacksonville Jaguars actually had the same grade on Alabama wide receiver Jalen Waddle, an 8.0, as they had on Trevor Lawrence, who they drafted. So if you ask the Jaguars front office, they actually rated Jalen Waddle as good of a draft prospect just by the numbers that Trevor Lawrence was. Now, obviously, in that situation, you still draft Trevor Lawrence because he's the quarterback, and, you need that and how important quarterbacks are. But that's some high praise. And remember, the Dolphins, as we came to find out, they considered Jalen Waddle as the second best overall player on their big board behind only Trevor Lawrence. And so apparently the Jaguars rated Waddle as high, if not higher, than the Dolphins did. And Waddle is not the only prospect the Jaguars thought highly of. They had a 7.5 grade, so just a half a point behind what they had for Waddle and Lawrence. They had a 7.5 grade on Jalen Phillips, who the Dolphins drafted, which leads Houts and others to believe that they too viewed him as edge rusher number 1 in this class, and rightfully so. This also lends credibility to the report that the Miami Dolphins had Jalen Waddle rated as the number 2 player on their draft board, though we may never actually know the truth. So there you go. The Dolphins apparently had, they got Waddle at number 6, but they had him rated number 2, and it sounds like the Jacksonville Jaguars had Waddle rated number 2 as well, and they actually gave him the same grade that they gave to Trevor Lawrence. That's pretty interesting. All right, we'll wrap up this episode of Man of the Match when we come back. And remember, it's 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, we've got our guy, Stephen D., with Miami sports music for the fans. The fans support the teams. They buy the jerseys and the tickets, but they never get the love that they deserve on sports radio. OnSideRadio.com changes that with Miami sports music for the fans. It's the show driven by Stephen D., representing Miami sports fans around the world. Tune in every night from 6 to 7 p.m. as Stephen D. and fans around the universe drive the talk about your favorite South Florida sports team. OnSideRadio.com is dedicated to the Miami sports fan.
The Man of the Match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Send a shout out to our guy Big O, who's recovering from a little procedure he had yesterday to get that polyp removed from his throat. Rosendo writes in, Donno, is Big O sounding like Freddie Mercury or Mickey Mouse? Now, I don't think anybody has. Like, I've not spoken to him, like heard his voice since yesterday because, I've texted with him several times, but he's not allowed to speak for a week, okay? Because, they cut out the polyp, which, he assured me was a very quick in and out outpatient procedure. But once they cut it out, the doctor told him, like, do not attempt to talk for a week. Like, part of your recovery is you have to be, completely silent. You use, like, I don't know what you use, sign language. You get a little, like, dry erase whiteboard you can write on. You text everybody. Like, you find other ways to communicate, all right? Like, think about, it's like a Twilight Zone episode. Like, you lose your ability to speak for a week. Like, you got to find other ways to get your points across. That's what he's doing. Rosendo says, hopefully he doesn't become Harpo Marx. He needs to study Harpo's communication methods because that dude was able to, pantomime, his way through life. He never spoke. Man, something I came across this is pretty interesting. Our guy Adam Gase, who we know is a fraud, but Adam Gase got a lot of credit, for the great work he did with Peyton Manning, with the Broncos. Like, Peyton Manning was already a first ballot Hall of Famer before he ever met Adam Gase, and yet Adam Gase gets credit somehow for Peyton Manning. But free agent offensive lineman Ben Garland, who played for the Broncos from 2010 to 2014, was on the DA show on CBS Sports Radio on Thursday. And he said that Manning was extremely demanding as quarterback of the Broncos. Garland said he held not only his teammates but also his coaches to a very high standard. That included Adam Gase. Quote, he would correct coaches. He would correct players. He would have you stand up and get called out during meetings, Garland recalled. Just making sure everyone was on point so we were at the top of our game. I mean, watching him call out offensive coordinators in meetings after the coordinator put together a game plan and him asking for it a day earlier than everyone else. Normally, you do the installs by Wednesday, and he demanded them done by Tuesday so he could review them before Wednesday's meeting. So you put all that together, it sounds to me like Peyton Manning was really the offensive coordinator. And like instead of anyone out there giving Adam Gase credit for Peyton Manning, you give Peyton Manning all the credit for Adam Gase, okay? Garland says he comes from a military background, so he was blown away by a quarterback speaking to an offensive coordinator like that. He mentioned Gase by name and said he recalls the coaching staff listening to Manning and getting him the game plan when he wanted it. Obviously, Manning was already an established Hall of Famer when he got to Denver. Quarterbacks like that can practically run their own offense, so his demeanor was not necessarily a reflection of Gase's incompetence. That said, Gase hasn't had much success in the NFL since Manning retired. That probably isn't a coincidence. I don't think it is either. Gase's tenure with the Jets was riddled with embarrassing moments, and his reputation has gone way downhill in recent years. And listen, that wasn't just a Denver thing for Peyton. I remember watching Peyton in Indianapolis, and I was always blown away, even when he was in his early 20s, by just how much command he had over the huddle. And, he would basically he would call his own play at the line of scrimmage every time. I mean, Peyton Manning was a coach on the field. Like, he was more than just a quarterback. The guy was a coach on the field, and apparently he was a coach off the field as well. That'll do it for us. Had a lot of fun today. Huge thanks to Alex Aguirre and to Nordy, who's training today, doing an awesome job learning the ropes and everything. She's going to become a big part of the station. Huge shout-out to everybody who joined us. Bill Lindsay at 5 o'clock, talked some Panthers with him. Omar Kelly, who brought the Friday Honesty, 4:35 p.m. today, he was on. Franco Panizo, who dropped some Inter-Miami knowledge. And Lee Sterling, who dropped some bets on us. And I think there's still time to get in the ones for tonight. He has got the Predators over the Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight on the money line. And he likes, in baseball, an over between the Yankees and the White Sox. He likes over 8 runs. And tomorrow in the UFC, he likes Rob Font over Cody Garbrandt. And this was not one of his preferred plays, but I asked him about the Heat, and he does lean to Heat plus 4.5 for tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. So huge thanks to everyone today. We will talk to you guys again on Monday, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow from Dangerous Minds at 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. Inter-Miami pregame show, Inter-Miami against Chicago Fire, and then I'll talk to you again Monday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. right here on Man of the Match on the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of